What's up? It's rare that we have these two together, but after this big news that dropped on Monday, we have to talk about it. So we have Beaker and Max right down there. I have new nicknames for them both, by the way. So I'm going to...
Really?
Yes. Definitely have new nicknames.
What are they?
Excuse me?
Brand new nicknames.
Yes. Brand new nicknames for you two.
Okay. That's the reveal now, today?
Yeah, we're going to have a reveal today as well. But before we do all of that, we got to drop this.
Yeah, but reveal of the nicknames.
Yes, we're going to reveal the nicknames very shortly. Why must you interrupt me every time I'm trying to do something?
Let's roll the intro.
Yeah, let's roll this intro. We're only going to roll it two more
When are you
times.
changing your intro, by the way? Because it sucks if you listen to the podcast, you just hear the noise from engines and you don't know what the fuck's going on. So it really sucks. Audio. As audio, your intro is terrible, Keenan.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're going to change
Don't
it.
worry, dude. Don't worry, dude.
Yeah.
It's under control, is it?
You know what? You have to. We're rated on you too for some stuff. So you know what? Enough about this. We got a lot to talk about.
Just roll the intro, dude.
Roll this intro.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your hosts tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 158 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. To my virtual right over there is Darth Beaker, and down below is Arrogant Max. So, what's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast.
I thought I had a new one.
You do. It's going to be revealed later. It's going to be revealed later.
Okay. I can't wait.
I know it's crazy. But anyway, guys, a big bombshell was dropped this week. We're going to talk about that, and we have probably another bombshell to talk about as well on this podcast. But before we do that, I have to, say thank you to everybody. I want to shout out and say thank you to all of the NNRC squad from around the world. Without you guys, none of this was possible. And of course, Joseph is here with his loud mouse. Let me mute him right now. And I want to thank all you guys for the support. It's been awesome. We're at the end of the year. We're having a Christmas show for you guys this week. I think we're going to do it at 3:30 p.m., 4 o'clock p.m. EST on Friday. So mark your calendars and set your alarms because we're going to be doing the giveaways for you guys on that day. Also, I would like to say,
the time frame.
Yeah, ish. We're working with this guy. When you're working with that guy, it's always a half hour.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Bumper you have to give yourself. I thought Dominicans were better at keeping time, but this guy right here. Anyway, so with that said, remember that 17th of December, sometime between 3:30 p.m. EST and 4 p.m. EST. We will start. No, not 3:30. Sorry. I'm got that confused too. Yeah, it's 3:30. 3:30 and 4 p.m. EST. We will start this. And I hope you guys join us. We have a lot of cool things to give away. And it's our way to give back to you guys. Also, I want to shout out to the patrons of the podcast. We can't do it, or I can't do it without you guys. Thank you for all of your support. We will have a special Patreon Christmas show for you guys as well after that with some giveaways just for you guys. So with all that said, thank you. Also, we can't do this without sponsors. And if you're a company that's interested in sponsoring the podcast next year, we've got some cool things coming up. Hit us up. We got tiers for everybody, and we are looking to do some big things next year. But right now, I'd like to say thank you and shout out to Mayako. Of course, we got a lot to talk about with Mayako today. Beach RC, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Invisible Speed, JQSM, Sun City RC Raceway. Probably the last time we're going to hear that because they're closing, unfortunately. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Donathan RC, JTP RC, House of RC, RCGP, and I also want to shout out to my boy Eddie Fikes and his awesome Uncle Eddie's all-purpose seasoning. Get you guys some of that. I just ordered another bottle. And before we go on any further, guys, I have to, we have a few things I want to shout out. I want to shout out and say happy birthday to Chris Nelson. It's his birthday today as we're recording this. And I have to say, happy birthday to him. I'm glad for his support of the podcast, and happy birthday to you. And I have to say a few RIPs. We've lost some people in the RC community. A couple of weeks ago, we lost Daryl Lane. I don't know him personally, but somebody brought it to my attention. He was an old school hobbyist. They had a company called A&L Products. I don't know too much about it, but he passed away. Caleb Hamby, who Joseph and I both got to meet at the Southern Nationals. He was one of the guys who was who used to build the Southern Nationals track and all that stuff. Nice man, nice gentleman. He passed away this past weekend, so our condolences go to his family, and he's got young children as well. And I never got to meet him, but I talked to him many times on Facebook as another person from the Southeast. And, I know a lot of people in the Southeast region of RC, but our condolences go out to Chris Cash. Chris Cash, he passed away, and to his family. So rest in peace to all of these, our RC family. We may not agree on everything, but we're all RC family at the end of the day. And I think there's a couple fundraisers and stuff going on for Caleb. And we'll see. And anything that I find, I will put into the podcast. So with that said, everybody, let's go talk, because we got a few things to talk about today. And I'll unmute Beaker Son over here. And so hey, I don't know what to say. Like, it's been a busy last couple of days for me. It's been a real busy couple months for you, Joseph. Max, you're super busy with school. But wow. I mean, what can we say? We're gonna talk about the whole Ronnefalk to Mayako move, but yeah. I mean,
yeah. So actually, by the time this is coming out, people have probably seen that I have left Team Associated. And my contract was due at the end of the year. I decided not to resign with them. And instead, I'll be joining Mayako.
Woohoo! All right, I knew this was coming. This was coming.
This would have been so much better if you didn't know.
I know.
But then, I told you I was.
Max got drunk and told Lefty. Okay, let's be honest about it. It was supposed to be a secret.
No. I told Keenan I was thinking about it, and then he asked me every single day. And I'm a master at deflecting stuff, but even I couldn't handle it.
The pressure,
man. You couldn't handle Keenan.
I was just at some point I just had to tell him. But it would be so much better if he was sort of excited.
Well, that's because I thought you knew about the big news too. This big news that Joseph, because he gave you some stipulations about this. He said you had to come on before the big news was revealed. And we didn't know what the big news was until, obviously, Monday.
But, I know when I look in Joseph's eyes, I know what the big news are.
Yeah, Joseph, when we first did this.
But to be honest, the thing was that I had a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a mental problem, to be honest. But
you have a mental problem?
Yeah, but this is a different one. So we all knew that Max was coming back one day, okay? We all knew that, but it had to be done in the right way, okay? That's just it. We all know the situation. Max lost his virginity to JQ Racing, and then he became curious at some point. So he needed to, sleep around a bit and check out some other cars. And then after he's done that, he will just come back. I mean, we know that was a given. But this was the problem now. So now we were about to sign David Ronnefalk, right? Best driver in the world. Who wouldn't want to come back at that point? So just to be clear, I needed Max to make a decision before he knew. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I just want to know what that noise... Hold on.
Then I would... Wait. What
is that noise? It's coming from you.
My computer fan, maybe?
Yeah, computer fan.
Can you shut that computer fan off, please? Because that thing is extraordinarily loud.
on its own.
What is it like?
So anyway, let me finish the story. So my point was that Max needed to make a decision before he knew about Ronnefalk. Mainly because then I would know that he's coming back for the right reasons. Because who wouldn't want to come back after the news, right? So that's why I said, look, if you're thinking about coming back at some point, now is your last chance. I need a reply. I can't remember how long I said he has to make a decision. And then he decided that he would basically come back, so join Mayako. And that was before he knew about Ronnefalk, I'm sure.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So that was really my thinking behind it. Like, I needed to know that he's coming back because he believes that this can be a good opportunity, that the car will be good, that he can also find a future other than racing through Mayako, right? And not come back because, oh, well, Ronnefalk's running it and this and that, and, you know, the kind of thinking that, your typical RC poser would have.
Yeah.
You know?
But you should know that
so
I'm
that
not a
was
fanboy
important.
You know,
this point.
the prodigal son has
still
returned.
it's still important to be sure of that situation.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, it's like, the prodigal son has returned. He's been out,
That's right.
sown his wild oats, and now he returns to the fold. It's like,
That's right.
In the Star Wars world, you guys are like Sith Lord and Apprentice. The two Sith, there's always only two Sith. So now we have Darth Beaker, and now we should,
That's the new nickname.
Darth Maximus. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
like you went to the light side when you went to AE for a little while, and you saw like, the light side is fun, but I really like messing around with the dark side, And now so you're back. But I'm super pumped because we kind of, honestly, like, we didn't speak for like a year, I think, after you left, and I wish JQ would shut that fan up. There we go. I shut it up for him. I muted you. Yeah, I muted you. When you shut your fan up, I'll bring you back on. So, just to say, like, I was upset when you left. I didn't want you to leave. And, I know Joseph was upset too. But, over this last year, you've been such an asset to the podcast. We've had fun. It's like old times. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm just happy to have you back in the fold, man. It's like, let's go. 2022 is coming. Let's rock this shit.
Yeah. To me, having these 2 years with AE was actually really good. Because for the first time, I actually had to do everything on my own. Like, I didn't have to get all the sponsors or whatever I did on my own. Obviously, COVID kind of messed everything up a bit. But I was doing my own thing. And even though I obviously was in contact with Associated and actually had surprisingly kind of a lot of input with the team, more than I expected. Still, I was sort of on my own, testing on my own, sort of doing my thing for a bit, which felt good. And for sure, sort of, it made me sort of think about other things in RC, such as my YouTube channel. Obviously, it's not like a huge thing, but to me, the most important part was actually just making the videos and like doing the stuff, not so much what resulted from it or how much people enjoyed. Obviously, there's quite a lot of views on it. I still get more subscribers every day, even though I haven't posted in almost half a year. So people clearly enjoy it and I'm happy about it. I think all of that sort of fits together. Sort of, I think I needed sort of these few years to sort of realize what I wanted in RC. Because I don't know if I've said this before, but at the time I left JQ initially, it was a decision of do I quit RC altogether or should I keep racing and try something else, or what do I want to do? Because I knew Mayako wasn't going to be a thing for a while. I knew something new was coming already at that time. But I didn't know when it was going to be and all of that. So I wanted to try something else before I sort of had to sort of quit or didn't want to run anymore or whatever it would have been.
Yeah, and I think you coming back on the podcast has rejuvenated a lot of things. You remember how much fun we used to have together, and yeah, it's just great to have you back, man. You know, a lot of people were disappointed when you left. You know, you had a lot of fans, and I'm just happy that you're here. And I know that this guy right there, your Darth Sith Lord over there, Darth Beakerson, he's excited too. He's super excited. So what kind of like made you, you just saw that, you know, I'm honestly, like, if you want to be designing stuff and do all this type of stuff in RC, I think this is the best place for you to be, because now you got a lot of stuff to help design.
Yeah. And also, like what David said on the video, that even before he even tried the car, he signed the contract. I've obviously tried some of the prototypes because we practice on the same tracks. I've tried Joseph's car. I know it works. It's good. And I know what it's based on. So I didn't have sort of that, I didn't have the sort of that blind spot that David might have had. Mm-hmm. But even without knowing all of that, I still sort of know what wants to be achieved by Mayako and how it's all going to work out, and sort of doing stuff, in my opinion, the correct way for the people. Sort of all those factors are stuff that put into it. And obviously, Associate is very much based in California or Arizona in America. If you're anywhere out of that, you are sort of outsider in the team. So I would have to move there to actually be sort of a designer or have that extra input in the car, which is something I really want to do. And I think I've sort of realized that now, at least finally, that that's something I really want to do. So obviously Mayako, being that Joseph is the designer, he lives in Finland. And yeah, I mean, I was already part of it for so long that I know almost everyone involved, that it's just so many more opportunities in that sense. So that's sort of the main reason I thought about it. And also, like, now being in school, it sort of had me sort of thinking on, hey, like, what do I want to do with RC? What is it going to be in the future? And like, because I like racing and I will be racing for sure. But the thing is that I like other stuff in RC too. I don't like RC just for the racing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's sort of the main reason why I decided not to continue with Associate and return back to Mayako.
Well, I'm happy to have you back. How about you, Joseph? You happy to have your protege back? You can't call him apprentice.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, when he left, it was quite frustrating because of the timing. I thought that if he had just sort of been a bit more patient, then Mayako would have happened and there would be a new car and everything, and that would be good. Well, then COVID sort of delayed everything pretty much with a year. So, you know, it would have been a long wait anyway. And then at some point, like maybe a year ago or something, I can't remember. At some point, I just realized, like, actually it's good that he left, because now he will gain some experience that he wouldn't have otherwise. And then I was pretty sure he would come back. So when he comes back, then he will be better. You know, he would have more experience, more motivation, and then they would actually work out better that way. So that's my thinking behind it. And yeah, I'm happy that he's back now. And now with the Mayako project also, it's a bit different now because the idea is to make all the cars. So at DNC, Ronnefalk would race Nitro buggy, e-buggy, and truggy with Mayako cars, right? The truggy would need to borrow some plastic stuff from other cars, but it's still a Mayako chassis, shock towers, gearboxes, so it's still a Mayako, center diff, radio tray, all that stuff. So there's a lot to do now, actually, and too much for one person, really. So putting together all these cars, designing and developing new stuff, there will be opportunities to do things. And also not only that, now it's very important that we deliver for the Mayako members, so on our Discord server. So there needs to be someone knowledgeable who not only knows the setup stuff, but also knows the inner workings of what's going on with Mayako. So has answers for everything. And well, Max would know that because he's here, right? So if we are doing something, he will know and he will be able to share information with all the members. So I think it's a really good match at this point.
Yeah, man. Let's rock it. Let's rock it. I can't wait. I'm happy to have and we all want the same goals.
I think that it can't really be overstated how important someone like Ronnefalk is, because it gives not just credibility, but also so much more motivation, because you know that any race you can win. Okay, it's very different than you can know that, okay, you have the best car or you have the best performing car on this track. It doesn't really matter, and it's like no one really knows if you are finishing like 7th or something, you know, even if that's a great result, like, oh, I just finished 5th at the Neo race or something, like that's awesome. Yeah, but no one really knows. Your car may have been the best at that race, right? But people don't know. But then if you have someone like Ronnefalk and he wins and the car looks good on track, then people think that. Ironically, though, then maybe the car wasn't the best that weekend, but he's so good he wins. But then it's different. Then it's like personal satisfaction versus reality and what people think.
Let's also note something.
It's very different.
Max is no slouch with the control. He has beaten you, so you know.
Yeah, he's improving as a driver too.
So, you know, that's how things work. Like this, the apprentice eventually has to like vanquish the master. He's already done that.
Yeah, but now I'm making a comeback now, 2022. Watch out.
Yeah, I'm not watching you at all.
I even got a corner speed. I'm corner speed. I even got a touring car so I can work on my corner speed, like Degani said.
Okay. That's
good. I literally have a touring car.
Yeah, he has. He just hasn't built it.
And he froze.
What happened there?
He knocked off his
camera. My
camera
just shut off.
Anyway, we will continue. We'll mute you, and we'll continue.
Yeah.
Or it should be muted. All right. Well, welcome back, Max. I'm happy to have you here. I think everybody's going to be super happy to have you here. I think Joseph's done something to his camera again. Yeah, let's mute it. Let's mute it. Are you excited?
I am, for sure. I think, it is something, in a sense, something new, because I've never been sort of in the situation before, but in a sense, it's sort of coming back to the sort of old where I'm familiar with. So that's sort of very exciting, because it's a start of something new, really. Because, I mean, Mayako has some prototype e-buggy, prototype chuggy, but it's not like fully done. Everything can be improved. And I think that's what's sort of most interesting about Mayako is you can improve the car the whole time.
I'm not surprised that you have an Awesomatics.
I haven't even opened the box yet. I've had it for almost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, dude, that damn fan has started again.
Yeah. Sorry.
I thought you had a new laptop.
It is new.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a more powerful fan now.
Yeah.
What are you trying to make hurricanes there or something?
No.
Gale force
Anyway,
winds?
what was Max saying?
That he's excited to come back. And we're excited to have him back.
I think sort of the thing is, like, even if there was a brand which I could have input, it would need to be a brand which I could have almost all of the input, because I don't see much brands being out there wanting to do stuff the way Mayako wants to do it. Obviously, Nemo has been doing some stuff now, but that's sort of still very early days, and it hasn't come out even yet. They already released a new car, which isn't the concept car. So the sort of attitude is very different with Mayako, and I think that's something that is inspiring, and also something that it it builds a lot of motivation for sure. It seems like you're working for something at least, and I think it is working for something. And a lot of stuff already being sort of tested next year, what we talk about with Joseph already. And it's going to be exciting.
You have anything to add with your noisy computer, Joseph?
No. I'm looking forward to next year. There's really too much really going on right now. I hope I get everything done, and next year I want to spend a lot of time just at the track, racing, developing, testing, that sort of stuff. So I hope these sort of 2 years will pay off then, that I'll be able to do that.
All right. Well, welcome back, Max. I'm happy. I think I'm super happy. Maybe not as happy now because, Ronnefalk kind of, I'm not going to dance with you. But, I'm definitely super happy. But I already, in private explained this to you. And I'm just happy. Like, we're all got the same mindset. Wow. We're all got the same goals, goals in front of us, and we're all working towards that, besides Joseph being noisy. And, I'm just excited for that. So I guess, welcome back, Max. Darth Maximus is back. Sith Lord, Sith Apprentice. All right.
So what's Ronnefalk then? Just a Viking? A Viking enters Star Wars?
Yeah, Viking Jedi.
Yeah.
There you go.
A Viking Jedi.
Almost as good as a vampire Jedi, but very good.
So where is Sith in relation to Darth Vader?
Hey, he is a Sith. They're the bad guys.
Oh.
Well, then, but you can be explaining.
I'm one of the bad guys.
Ronnefalk can't be a Jedi then, right?
Yes, you can.
What's Adrian Bertine? Yoda? Adrian is like a perfect Yoda, actually. He's a bit short, and that's good. And
I don't think we should be calling Adrian Bertine Yoda.
I mean, English with a French accent.
Yeah, he
perfect.
Might talk like Yoda.
He's Yoda.
No, we're not calling Adrian Bertine Yoda. Not calling Adrian Bertine
Why?
Yoda.
Who is Yoda then?
Yoda is, I don't know. We don't have to
have
Yoda.
Who would Adrian be if not Yoda?
There's other Jedi out there besides Yoda. You know that, right?
But how are we on the different sides, though?
Because you guys are like, because...
They are the light side.
Yeah, they're the light
side and with the dark side.
And I am the gray side. I am a gray Jedi.
You're like a two-faced character?
No, I dabble in both dark and light, and I've learned to harness both.
You're Jar Jar Binks.
Some people, I'd rather be Jar Jar Binks than someone calling me like Jabba the Hutt or something like that. Yeah.
I forgot about him.
Yeah,
that would make more sense.
There was a Hutt Jedi at one point. But anyway, enough about Jedi. That's a podcast that I can talk about for hours on end.
Ian just sent me a picture of all his figures, and he had to send 3 different pictures because there were so many of them. They couldn't fit into one. He had like 3.
You've got more since last time.
Figures.
I've got them all set up. That's all. Just calm down.
When I come over there, I'll throw them all in the trash.
You throw anything in the trash, and you will end up in a cane field.
How much money have you invested in that bullshit?
No,
What if you sold it? You could probably buy a house.
This is all investment because you can sell all this stuff.
You know what? If you sold all of your action figures in Star Wars bullshit,
I wouldn't be able to buy a house.
I bet you could fix your arm.
Yeah, but it's not getting sold. These are going to be passed on to my kids, and they can sell them.
Wouldn't you rather have a functioning left arm?
Yeah, but that will happen one day. One day.
Yeah, when you sell all your figurines.
No.
That's the only way you can actually save money. You can't save money to save your life or get an arm, right? So you buying action figures is in a way saving, because then you sell them all at once, and then you have the money for your arm. Genius.
Yeah, all right. Enough about my arm. Enough about my action figures, because this is an RC
You remember
podcast.
when the small, I don't know what his name is, Luke Skywalker, he had his arm cut. So you remember when the scene when he got his arm installed? That would kind of be you.
Yeah, that would be great if that really happened. Maybe in a galaxy far,
So you're
far
Luke.
away. No, I'm not Luke.
Yeah.
Can we live stream your operation?
Oh, geez. We're talking about RC now. See, this is why I can't have you two together, because we just go off on so many different things. And then it ends up just you guys ganging up on me, and I can defend myself, but, come on, let's go. Moving on. We have a lot
We're
to talk
definitely doing this next year. Getting you an arm.
Yeah, maybe we can just go chop one off a dead body or something. Like, hey, you're almost dead. Right, here you go.
You just need, what do you need, really?
Some
nerves?
No, they would take a nerve out of my leg.
They can't fix it.
They take a nerve out of my leg, and then they put it up her, and then it's supposed to regenerate or something like that. But you know what?
Then you'd walk with a limp?
No, because you have enough nerves in your legs. You can spare one or two.
Yeah.
Really?
Unlike you cannot spare any brain cells. So, you know what I mean? So, anyway, we have a lot to talk about. We're just talking a lot of random crap right now.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
so are we done yet?
You went through the nicknames already?
Yeah, you are now Darth Maximus.
We're just Darth.
And this is Darth Beakerson.
Beakerson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Add that to the other 10 other nicknames that he has, too.
So what's Darth or Sith?
Darth.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Always
They're
Darth.
like synonymous.
Okay.
Don't ask me what Darth means. I have no idea. So, anyway, you know what? We got some news to talk about. Enough about Star Wars. Even though I could talk
There's no
about
other news. Let's do the questions and then I go.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Should we do silly season stuff as news?
Yes, we're going to do silly season. We're going to do, you know what? The RC news
Let's get
Let me mute him, please. There you go. The RC news is brought to you by TNR Fuels and High Tech RC. TNR Fuels is the hottest fuel on the market, owned and operated by Chris Nelson and his family, made by racers for racers. TNR Fuels is currently available throughout the USA. For more information to support the company or purchase some fuel, visit them at www.tnrfuels.com or contact Chris Nelson directly at chris@tnrfuels, or you can find them on Facebook or find their page on House of RC. Also, big thanks to High Tech RCD. They are coming on for 2022, looking to do big things. I'm happy about that. But High Tech RCD is a leader in RC systems, delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by a dedicated customer service personnel. The HSBC 9381TH servers have efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. They also regenerate power back into your battery. The RDX2 Pro charger, which I own and operate, can charge 2 packs at a time. You can charge 2 4-cell packs in 45 minutes and provide power for your engine heating, phone charging, and tire warming needs. Trust in High Tech, your servo charger headquarters. Visit them at hightechrcd.com, where to buy, to find your nearest retailer. All right, so I guess we might as well just, address the elephant sitting in the room here. So as we're recording this, the news has dropped. Joseph, congratulations on signing the Viking. We did it in a original type of way. I'm happy that I got to break the news for the podcast, with the podcast first. Catch my real reaction. That's turned into a GIF now, apparently. One guy's turned into a GIF. It has?
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. It's worth it, man.
The funny thing before that, I was actually just telling you, it's going to suck. TLR's got him, and he's going to TLR, and it's going to suck because everybody thinks he's going to Mayako, and then when he releases, it is going to TLR. We're going to look like, it's going to be fun, but then everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, I knew he wasn't going to Mayako, but little did I know that you had a surprise for me.
Yeah, man. That was the plan.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited.
To get your authentic reaction.
Yeah, it was good. I think everybody that tuned in, they liked it. They enjoyed it. Max was like already secure that you had done it. He's like, I saw it in the eyes, but I don't know.
Yeah, when I visited him, like there's no way.
He put me on the spot, and I'm a really bad liar.
Yeah.
Like in person, put me on the spot. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
Well, was you working on his cars or something when he came over there?
No, I hid them in the other room.
Interesting.
Luckily, like I have some of his stuff here, so like his painted body and stuff. So that would have been a bit of a giveaway.
So
I would say.
So now that the news is out, Joseph, how do you feel about it?
Honestly, I think that I'm too busy to really think about it. I think that it will sink in when we are at a race. That's my theory, because I don't really feel anything special, to be honest. Like maybe in short moments, it's like, oh, that's cool. But there's just so much right now going on that I think it will sink in when we are at a race. And I'm like looking at the car and I'm like, fuck, that's David driving it. What the hell? Like, then I think it will actually sink in. I'll tell you a story from before. Like, this is how dumb I am. So this was after Cody King won the Worlds. They released like a Kyosho something with Cody King's paint job on it, right? Mm-hmm. And then this was my thought process. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Actually, he has his like paint job on the Kyosho box. Like, that must be cool. Then I'm like, actually, I have my paint job on the box too. Like, actually, it's my own car. So then I was like, oh yeah, I have my own car. What the hell am I thinking? Like, it would be cool to have a paint job on a box. Like, I literally have that and the car is mine. You know, like I had to connect the dots like that. So things like this take time to sink in, I think.
How about you, Max? What's your reaction to this? What do you think?
Sorry. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think, I kind of believe that at some point Mayako would have one of the top drivers, but I think David is sort of a perfect fit. And now seeing like people see it, it is pretty exciting. For sure, I'm excited about it. I think, and also like Bertin and all of that happening. It's I like it. It's hard to like, as Joseph said, I don't like feel anything about it because I haven't seen him drive it. But I think it would be cool to see, like, because at the end of the day, it's like Mayako is still an underdog company, and just seeing someone like Ronnefalk or any of like very, very top guys run it would be super cool. And I think when I would see it on track, I'll be excited for sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just to explain a bit. So the plan originally was that the first year is a building year, okay? The first year is a building year for Mayako, but we have a driver that is better than me, okay? That was the goal. So someone we can get that's better than me or most likely would beat me at most of the races. That's what we were trying to get, right? And then for the second year, try to get the best we can possibly get. That was the idea. And then it just so happened that as I was kind of trying to prepare for 2023, this sort of almost fell in our lap. Like, okay, we have this opportunity. We're going to have to take it. Like, this doesn't happen every day. We have to do whatever we can to make this happen. And that's what we did then. So that's maybe also why it hasn't sunk in fully, because it wasn't the plan. It happened 1 year sooner than it was supposed to. It's possible to do now, but it's there's more unknowns. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of pressure on now too. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think that also proves how confident David is, and maybe Adrian also in David, that they are willing to do this even though, yes, like a car being good is one thing, but it's different in race conditions. So when you don't have any data from before, so you don't know like, well, in this condition, this is what we do. You have none of that, right? You have to build that up. So when you have 1 year on a car, you have all of that. Well, last year at DNC, this is what we did. Mm-hmm. Last year at the Euros on this track, this is what we did. So it's easier, right? When you have none of that, it's harder because you have stuff from testing, but racing is always different. So I think that shows how confident David is that it's a World's year, right? And he feels that the car is good, it's capable. I know I will make the right decisions with Adrian and myself that together we'll make the right decisions, and I'll handle the rest as a driver. You know, so I think that's quite neat also.
The best way I couldn't really tell anybody about this when I found out Thursday. So I've been telling people that aren't really into RC. And the best way I can explain it to them is like, imagine a team getting Michael Jordan from the Bulls at his peak. You know what I mean? Or something like on in our scale of, you know, like David Ronnefalk, Mayfield, Ongaro, Tebow. These guys are all top echelon pro drivers that get paid to do this for a living.
Yeah. And this is like a different move than Cavalieri, like
to S-Works.
Moving to S-Works or even Cavalieri going to TLR. Mm-hmm. It's a different style of move because it's very clear that Cavalieri isn't the number one guy. He's out there and he can win for sure if he has it all together, as he did with S-Works for a few races before he left. But it's a guy who is at the best time of his career at a manufacturer that has one of the best cars out on the market, and still he makes this decision.
And also,
that's a huge deal.
Someone on the Mayako Discord, when we were talking about this, made a good point. This was actually before anyone on that Discord knew about Ronnefalk, but it was more a discussion of like which driver should Mayako go after. And he made a comment that like the two best drivers we figured out would be Mayfield and Ronnefalk, right? Those two. And then the difference between them. So Mayfield is a racer, right? So what he cares about is going to a race, winning the race, having some beers with his friends, having fun. That's it, right? That's basically it. That's him. That's Mayfield. That's what you get. But Ronnefalk is more than that. So he's not just a racer, he's a leader. He is willing to and embraces the role of taking on more than just being a racer that goes to the race and wins the race, right? He's been doing his videos and this and that and reaching outside of RC and trying to do different things also, right? Because he wants to do something more than just race in a field and win a trophy, right? And I think that's important, to have that kind of mindset where you believe that since you are making all this effort, getting paid all this money, then you should try to further the sport also, which will help your career too, you know, and he has that mindset. So be a leader, do something that then can show the way for future generations of pro RC racers, you know, how you should do things. So I think that was a good way to describe it, of a racer versus being a leader.
I would have to agree with you. So, we've had this conversation many times, even on this podcast, how we think if we had the money, we would sign him because he just gets it. And he hits, you know, yes, Mayfield's going to go out there and win your race, and that's great. But Mayfield's, you know, like to get you to do interviews and all that type of stuff. He just doesn't like that stuff. And that's fine, you know. But as we go forward in this industry and as the industry progresses, these drivers, they're going to find themselves having to do more of this type of stuff. You know what I mean? To promote themselves, promote their companies. It's not just good to do a Facebook post and all that type of stuff. You know what? We're getting into a world where, you know, the RC industry is starting to catch up with the rest of the world. So it's like TikTok and Instagram and all this type of stuff. All that stuff becoming popular in our industry. So you got to have that guy who embraces all that, and he does. And he's one of the few drivers that does this. So also I wanted to add, it's also different from you, Joseph, because you've had some good racers come through your, you know, in your 10 years at JQ Racing, not of this caliber, I would say. Obviously, I don't think you've had anybody of this caliber at all, but you've had good guys. And the great thing about this he isn't at the end of his career looking for a paycheck. He's, you know, like 25. He's still got a few world championships left in him. He's got, you know, probably a couple of Euros left on the board that he can win. And you go to any race right now, I'm not saying that, like, Ronnefalk can... I think Ronnefalk... Look at this guy typing away. I think Ronnefalk can win any race that he goes to. You know what I mean? And you now have that bullet in your gun. Like you have that, you have that bullet in your chamber. Like this, like you went from, hey, we're going to have a nice DNC with a great presence and I will try my best to make the A main, to, hey, we could, like Mayako could possibly go in here and win the DNC. Like it's a strong possibility that happens.
And it's not like Mayako can possibly win it. It's like we have the driver that's the favorite to win this race.
Yes. He's definitely one of the drivers to win this. He is the 2020 champion.
Like he's been the fastest guy every year that he has been there. Like he won 2018. In 2019 he was up there, but he broke. 2020 he won. Right?
Yep. So
yeah,
then,
so it's not
what? Yep, we muted you because you was typing.
I said no pressure.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That's also like I think this is like the fact that DNC is the first race adds a lot of pressure as well, because if he like realistically if he doesn't finish in the top 3, that seems like a off race for him. But realistically, if he manages to win it, I don't think any of the top drivers have done it. Like Tessman TQ'd DNC when he joined X-Ray, but he was like in the mains. He wasn't there really, and yeah, Mayfield was probably the only one who was really fast, like when he moved to Mugen. But apart from that, a lot of these top drivers, when they switch brands, they always struggle for a while. Always struggle for a while.
Are you worried about that, Joseph?
So,
I'll worry about that in January.
Yeah. Well, you guys are planning to be out there about what, 3 weeks prior to DNC?
Yeah, something like that. I'll be a bit earlier, but yeah, he should be. I think 3. I think it's 4 weeks actually.
But that's 4 weeks of just RC.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I hope it's enough time.
Why
not Montpellier?
Because of DNC. So because Montpellier is so close to DNC, so there wouldn't be time to then run and test and get engines ready and set up and all that stuff.
And he doesn't have anywhere to run and test right now anyway, because it's in Sweden and it's probably Sweden.
Yeah, also that. So then before Montpellier would also be a problem. Just how to prepare for that race.
California.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Next year. 2023.
Back.
Yeah.
Well, I think it melted the internet pretty good. I guess people didn't really expect it when they released the podcast, which was pretty cool because we kind of decided we was trying to figure out how to do that. So when that did drop, people were a little bit confused. Like, we didn't want to leave no spoilers or nothing. We just like, hey, just watch the podcast. Watch that review. And we kind of wanted people to get the same reaction that I got. Like, So
yeah, as many as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, the people who initially found it, many of them probably had that reaction. So that was good. That's kind of the idea. And then afterwards, it was posted already so much that Mayako released a release image of a David switching, and then the next day video, and then the following day car pictures. So
good stuff.
A three-day release in a way.
Yeah, man, I love it. I'm just so happy. I haven't stopped smiling since then. Even I told you, Joseph, I'm still smiling. So I'm super happy. Well done. Well freaking done. Oh, Sith Lord. All right. So anything else you want to add about the Viking and before we go on?
No.
All right.
No, I don't
think so.
All right. So, do we want to touch on ETS real quick? It was a good race. The Viking was there. I think he finished 6th or something like that. Bruno Coelho won.
Yeah, somewhere in
Reinhardt second. No.
Reinhardt was actually 3rd. Michele Manso was.
Who's that
second.
kid?
He won the first.
Some Swiss guy.
I think he's Italian, maybe Swiss. Don't know, but it's
I think
an
it
Italian
was Swiss
for sure. Okay. But yeah, he's an automatics driver. He started 3rd. To be honest, the first time I've heard of him, touring has been kind of on the off since COVID started. So before COVID, yeah, I'm pretty sure I hadn't heard of him. And if I had, he probably was somewhere low in the A or in the B main at the ETS races. So yeah, a really good outing for him. He was clearly a bit behind the pace of the top 2, Mark was the fastest guy out there, but Bruno had the pole, and he was pretty good. It seemed like Mark's car steered a lot better. All of the sort of slow speed section, he was a lot faster. And the second, if you haven't watched any of the A mains, watch the second one. That's the most entertaining one. He was, let's say, from the first minute to the like the last lap, he was just battling between these two guys. So it was great.
So after that second main, even though Bruno won, they was really mad at Mark, and his mechanic was over there yelling at Mark and stuff because Mark was pressuring Bruno so much. Like, they were literally, I don't even know how close they were in those corners. Like, they weren't that many times that they touched, but they were, it was just...
They touched once where nothing happened, and once where Mark sort of spun out. That's like, it wasn't,
but
like
it was like you could probably not even fit a piece of paper between the cars. That's what it seemed like, you know, in some of the hairpins. They didn't touch, but it was so close, like practically they were touching, right? So then the thing was, like, being that aggressive, the risk for touching the body just a bit and Bruno getting the body tucked into the rear wheel, you know, so that the car sort of gets stuck with that body tuck. That's an such a big risk. Like, Mark shouldn't be that aggressive. So what do you think about that? That's in touring car. It's difficult because of that problem. But then on the other hand, that track was almost impossible to overtake. Yeah. So the only way was to be very close, so that if there's even a slight opening, that you can get in there. And that's kind of what Mark did. He also had one situation where he managed to get alongside, but then the next section of corners, he ended up on the outside, so he couldn't go by. But I think that's really the only way to get by on a track like that without some big mistake by the car in front, is to be very close. So, I don't know.
I think in the first main, he got alongside at the start of the straight, and both of the guys were still sort of in the pack. And they both sort of not crashed, but they got very squirmy, like on the straight, and they dropped way back. So that I would be more mad to Mark about that, because that he wasn't properly alongside. He was kind of a takeout in a way. He backed out of it, but it was too late at that point, and they both sort of got squirmy. But in the second main, they had a nice gap to the rest of the field. They could both sort of do their thing and race. So I think that's fine. Obviously, the body tucking issue is there, but I think like that. I don't think that's an excuse to say like you can't race. Like, then if you're scared of it, then you should use some anti-body tucking in the bodywork. So, and I think that sort of should be implemented already in the bodies. It's a bit ridiculous that this is such a huge issue still, when you could solve it rather easy. So I think that's a dumb excuse, because you could solve it. You would obviously lose from it, but like weight wise. But I think this sort of should be a norm in touring, and I think that's a bit of a dumb excuse to use if they were using. I don't know what their excuse was. And I think the racing was fair. Mark wasn't overly aggressive where he would sort of get alongside where he didn't have space. And again, if you watch the first main, Mark went from, I think, 5th to 2nd in that main, all by passing these cars fair and square on the track. No touches, no nothing. It was clean, very nice. And yeah, I think Mark raced fairly, and there's no issues with that. And I think this body tucking issue should be solved already. It shouldn't be an issue. Like, it's been forever, it's been an issue, and it shouldn't be one.
I muted you because your keyboard's loud.
So I think Mark is one of the best drivers to race clean and close to someone. He has really good car control and skill for that. at the Reedy race, even though he doesn't race that much off-road, you can, I mean, yes, of course, you can see it in touring car too, but just I've been at the Reedy race and watched live. So the weird thing about Reinhardt's driving is how he's one of those drivers that he sometimes even looks slow, but then he's fast, you know, and that how the car looks slow, he is able to do that very close to another car and not hit them. You know, he's in full control. So he is judging the speed of the other car. And as long as the other car doesn't make any weird mistake, he can drive very close without touching, right? And if there's a small gap, he'll go get on the inside and he'll make a pass, right? He's one of the best at doing that. So I don't know. I thought it was okay. I mean, amazing driving from both, really.
Well, I mean, where does that point come where you can't be close to somebody, though? You know what I mean? If you're not touching them, you're still not touching them. It's racing. You got to race.
I think actually I recorded a piece of a MotoGP documentary for Max, actually, because we had this discussion before on the podcast. You remember how I was saying that you can be too aggressive also. So your driving causes the driver in front to take sort of evasive action, in a sense, and you don't touch. But the risk is so high that it's really your fault behind. If you are behind and you are driving in a way where the driver in front feels that he needs to change his driving, you are at fault, even if you don't touch, you know. And it was just perfect in this MotoGP documentary because unlike in RC cars, when you are racing motorbikes at 300 kilometers an hour or whatever they do, it's a question of life and death, basically, or serious injury. So when you have a rider that's too aggressive in that way, it's a problem, you know. And then the riders were talking about that, like what is acceptable to be, how is it acceptable to be aggressive, and when do you cross the line, you know? So there is that thing. Maybe we can take it in a future podcast. I'll record the clip and we can play it. But for this race, I don't know. It's so hard to say from a video like that, but it felt like Bruno was just driving normally and Mark was just very close, you know? I didn't get the feeling like Bruno was changing his driving because he thought like Mark would T-bone him or something. No, Mark was just very close. You know, that's the feeling I got, but it's hard to tell from a video like that.
Sweet.
Yeah, to me, I agree completely with what you said. I think though also there is a space and a time for driving in that aggressive manner. Obviously, in MotoGP, especially, there is that safety factor as well. And I think what you said, like obviously this discussion when we last time had on the podcast was about Barufalo. I think his biggest issue is that he does it always. Like he's always that way, where it doesn't matter if it's for the race win, it doesn't matter if it's for like two guys in the front and rest of the back in the back, or if it's in the middle of a 5-car pack, he's doing that. I think that's his biggest issue, that he doesn't sort of see the context which he's doing it at. Because to me, if you're fighting for the win and you both know you have a clear sort of advantage over the third car or whatever, I think that is acceptable to do, because you are trying to pressure the car in front to make a mistake, to change their driving style, so that you can find a way past. If it's in a pack of, let's say, 3 or 4 cars, you do that, that's hurting every other car in there, and you have to sort of work together. I don't think that's something you can penalize, but it's definitely not sort of good driving ethics for sure. To me, there's a situation where you can do that and can pull that off, and I think it's fine. But there's also situations where you do exactly the same thing, and it's in my opinion, stupid. But you can't really penalize it. In my opinion,
kind of like Barufalo behind Mayfield that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely qualifiers in RC, the way we run it now. Always, you shouldn't do that. You should never do it. It hurts you. It hurts the car in front, and that's not the point of qualifying. If you're like the first minute of the main, you shouldn't do that. That's not something you should do. Last lap, like last 2 minutes, if there's only you in the car in front, like in the same sort of pack and the rest of our far back, I think it's fine. But even if you have a slight touch on the car in front, it already becomes like that's not okay anymore. So you have to be 100% sure that you're not going to hit the car in front, even if he held his line. All you really are trying to do, and what you should be trying to do, is to throw him off. And I think that is acceptable. But as soon as you touch him, even a slight bit, I think it's not okay anymore.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. It's just a fine line, but you have to be aggressive at some point, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, man. Hard call. We would have to be there to see it, I think, also.
Yeah, but I would say that Mark isn't that kind of driver.
Oh, yeah.
So he is not like that Barufalo style, like you are worried when he's behind you, you know? He's just very good and can drive very close. And yeah, that MotoGP clip, one thing that the rider said was that the thing is that we can all be more aggressive, but we choose not to, you know? And then this one rider would go over that line and do those things, right? And that was the complaint, like, we can all do this, but we also want to survive, you know, the weekend, so we don't. So they have to sort of find that limit of what's acceptable and what's not. And in RC, it's harder to find because we don't get hurt. And because of that, that's why gate starts, for example, are difficult, because people don't care. You know, they just go. They aren't afraid. There's no reason to back off a bit, you know, and the sensible drivers do that, but then, you know, half of the drivers don't because there's no risk involved. So I guess this is harder to judge in RC.
I would agree. I didn't really watch the mains that deep, but I definitely will go back and watch them. I was really impressed with ETS coverage website. All that stuff was really nice. Each round broken down, each qualifier, you know, everything was great. So definitely we need some of that type of coverage over on the off-road side of things and on, you know, for Nitro. So really good. Anything else you guys want to add? What about the Vikings performance? 6th or 7th? I think that's reasonable. I mean, he's going against some of the fastest guys in the world in this type of environment, you know?
No, like, if you think about it, has there ever been any off-road guys that has been good in on-road?
Yeah. Cavallari. What?
Like, no, dude, like...
Pavidis.
Yeah, but that when Pavidis drove, that's when everyone drove on-road. And Cavallari has only been good in America. Mm-hmm. And there's been raw champions who have been going to ETS. I remember this was in 2014, 15, 16 when those Finnish guys were running ETS. One of these guys who was multiple-time raw champion, can't remember his name, but he's like, he always won at those indoor races. He ran for Associated. So he was, at that time, was one of the best races in America. And he came to ETS and he finished in the D main.
Like Ralph Bartsch or something like that? Or off-road guy?
No, can't remember his name.
I know the guy you mean. I can't remember the name.
Yeah. But there was Juho Levanen and him. They were both racing for Associated. And they were going to these ETS races for this at this time. I can't remember. 2014, 15, or 16. And these Finnish guys who were barely even winning Finnish races were beating this guy who was a Roar champion.
Really? Interesting.
So the level of touring and the style of the tracks
it's different between
here,
America and Europe.
It doesn't really match.
Hagberg went over there and he lost to American guy over there. No, did he lose? I can't remember. Probably didn't lose. I probably need to recheck that. He had a hard weekend too, but he ended up on 7th. I think.
The Americans are better in smaller tracks because, like, even this track, I think the lap times were like 14, 15 seconds. Oh, no, 13 seconds. But anyway, the lap times are at that spot. In America, a lot of the tracks, even the big races are under 10 seconds. Indoor race. So the tracks are a lot smaller. And I remember this guy who I alluded to before, even he said that like it's really hard to race because the tracks are so big, even the indoor track.
Okay, interesting.
So the level and style of touring cars is very different in Europe and America.
Oh, I would agree there.
But yeah, Cavalier definitely won in America, but in America it's different. In Europe, I haven't seen anyone really. Ronnefalk's probably done the best of anyone I can think of.
And there goes JQSM. We're gonna mute.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, I just wanted to touch on this before we go on to some silly season stuff. They had the Miami Grand Prix at Homestead in Miami past weekend. Uri Hoodie and Martin Beyer made the trip over there. Also, Nicola went over there. So this was a decent Nitro onward race.
And Infinity was there.
Yeah, Infinity was there.
And,
Wallace Motorsports, all that stuff. So, real quick, the main class really here looked like it was the GT Nitro class. Alessio Mazzeo won, Martin Bear second, Uri Hoodie third. Shout out to my Dominicans, Joel Abreu, he finished sixth, and Jose Alamante eighth.
If Uri Hoodie was third, it wasn't the main class.
I don't think that wasn't the main class.
Yeah, well, they had the 8-scale pro class, like the GP
1/8.
Yeah, and I know none of these guys. So Nicola came 10th. Yeah, that's all. Chris Tossolini came 6th. He's back in racing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why Temo only ran 10 scale, but it's hard to say which one was more packed, the 10 scale or 8 scale. But yeah, both had very high level drivers, at least in the top.
Well, see, the GT class is growing, and it's really popular, like in Latin America. And it's growing really big. So I can see why it's just they're putting some effort into this and some focus into that. So it's good to see. And
but I think the reason why you don't recognize the names is because a lot of these on-road drivers are very sort of disconnected from the rest of RC. Like in Italy, it's one of the biggest scenes is like Nitro on-road. Obviously, off-road is bigger there, but like that's a huge scene only in Italy. Like Nitro on-road, and it's a lot of those guys, like a lot of people don't even hear until they make it to the Worlds or Euros, thanks to RC Racing TV. And the Worlds were streamed by Live RC as well. But that's sort of the difficult part about Nitro on-road.
Yeah, and just to finish off our news, because honestly, like nothing's bigger than the Ronnefalk's thing. This Ronnefalk's announcement this week. They had a big race up in the Pacific Northwest at Moses Lake. I think Drake went up there. I think he won everything. But another very good, strong, healthy community of racing up there in the Pacific Northwest. So congratulations to them and whoever. I was looking for results. I couldn't find it. It's on a different name. So I think Tony Newland won 40 plus. So congratulations to him, his 10 scale co-host. Do you guys have any other news before we go in and chat a little bit of silly season? We're hoping Joseph has some information. He can talk freely now about silly season. So we're going to talk about that. But anything you guys wanted to bring up for RC news before we go forward? No?
I'll try to see the results here.
How about you?
For the
NCT?
The Miami Grand Prix.
Oh, I was looking at them. It weren't many guys there. But anyway, you know what? There
was some fast guys I saw, but
okay.
Can't find the results.
I don't know who they are, so I'm sorry. But you know what? Yeah. I think we're going to go on and talk a little bit of silly season, and that the silly season talk is brought to you by Techno RC, who we were talking about in silly season.
Techno RC. Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Techno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Techno Takeover.
thank you to Techno RC for their continued support of the podcast, and they've sent some gifts to give away this weekend coming. So thank you to them. We greatly appreciate their support. A long-time sponsor of the podcast. Thank you to Techno RC. All right, well, we might as well get this right off the bat. So, did we talk about it last time here? But Barufo officially to Techno. Joseph, you saw him drive the car when you was in Italy and whatnot. Your thoughts on this, real quick?
Yeah, so I think he switched because of the engines. With the X-Ray, he had to run the FX, and he has flamed out a lot. I mean, DNC, he was leading and flamed out. If you remember, that's not the only time. So what I've heard, unofficially, allegedly, is that was the issue. So he didn't want to run the FX. He wanted to run a different engine. The only way to do that was to not run an X-Ray. So then Techno was a company that needed a driver, was willing to pay. That's where he ended up. So Techno and Reds. We'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
it will be very interesting to see.
At the start. I think the hot race move is the almost as big as the X-Ray move.
So the hot race move, okay, I don't have any, I don't have knowledge of this, but I do know that Barufalo and Ongaro don't get along. They sort of kind of get along at the races, like you can see, like maybe they talk or whatever, but actually like there's a bit of bad blood there and issues. So I believe that if Ongaro was to be signed by Hot Race, Barufalo would leave Hot Race.
Yeah.
And Barufalo left Hot Race, which is weird because he's like, it's like I wouldn't come on the podcast anymore, right? If I stopped coming on the podcast, then people would be like, well, there must be something happened between Lefty and JQ. Like they were, you know, friends, and they were like, there was no way they would not work together, right? That's how Hot Race and Barufalo, right? So I think something like that has happened. Like there has been, it obviously nothing has been announced, but my feeling is that Barufalo has said, like, look, if you sign Ongaro, then I'm out, because he doesn't want to do that, and then maybe Hot Race has done that anyway, or something like this, right? Because otherwise I can't think of a reason why they would stop like that, just boom.
Yeah.
Because the tires are good. I think he's happy. Yeah. You know? So.
Sounds like
on
that.
the post, both of the posts when they announced that the departure, both said that they, like Barufalo said that he didn't like the direction the brand was going in, and Nicola said that some can't like the direction or whatever. It was it seemed like it wasn't in that good sort of.
Yeah. Okay, then maybe that's it. And the reason why I said that was that when I was in Italy for the race, then there were some people saying like, oh, Ongaro was running some different tires from AK. So apparently he was testing different tires. He did end up racing with AKs, but apparently he had different tires that he was running and testing, you know? So maybe there's something to that rumor then.
But let's be honest. To me, it's a bit ridiculous that he would continue running AKA, because Horizon bought them. I don't think they really want to have that brand have the same thing. Pavilis is gone. It's sort of, to me, there's like, obviously there's some French presence with AK. I think Savoia runs AKA. But apart from that, he's kind of alone with AKA. So, and also the fact that Hot Race is the biggest brand and they don't have a huge driver like Ongaro. They have Robert, but he's sort of on the sidelines compared to Ongaro, in my opinion. So I think him being Italian, I think it should be a no-brainer that he would be running Hot Race. Obviously, I think Ongaro really likes AK and has liked AKA, so that's why he has stayed and not switched to Hot Race. But I don't
he's
really
got that
know.
programmed on pack. See? That's what it
Yeah,
is.
Exactly.
But Barufalo's
But
got
also, he
3 hills
switched it
to
up a
climb.
bit. He switched to OS as well.
Yeah, but
Yeah, Barufalo has a lot of things to sort out. I think Reds is better than FX, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the car, the tires, like outside of these very specific conditions, I don't know if they're really good enough.
yeah. Well, I wish him all the best. Let's see how he can do with the Techno, the seismic tires. The engine, he should be fine, like you said. So we shall see. Should we keep it Techno? Like we talked last week, Max, it looks like Seth Van Dalen Stain. He went and raced at the Hobby Flex this past weekend.
It's kind of annoying where nothing is happening. I think like January 1st, after that, there'll be a flood of news. Mm-hmm. So I think people are waiting to the end of the year to announce the rest of it. Maybe this week there'll be more announcements. But yeah, to me, as you said, Seth was building a new car. We've heard rumors that I'd say are sort of trustable, and that the sources they've heard it from are sort of good sources, that Bornhorst is 100% out. Mm. And to me, that tells there's no reason to kick Seth out as well, because then you would only have Tebow and Jones. I don't think that's enough. I think they need more than those two.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. Well, he did go to the Plex and race this weekend with his Techno car, I believe. Yeah. So,
to me, that
I think he likes
Seth
Techno too.
And
I think he likes it there, and he likes the car.
And to me, he fits in the team pretty well, which is so weird that he's had all these issues that at least we talk about on the podcast, like the suspensions and all that stuff. So, yeah.
We shall see.
Weird.
And I heard that Bornhorst was linked to HB at one point, but then after that, S-Works.
Yeah,
so
right now,
I think he's going to S-Works.
Yeah, right now the same people who I've heard, and also on the Discord as well. It's S-Works for Bornhorst.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be the under of Heckert and Tim Lime. You'll see how that goes. I thought HB would have probably been a better move for him. But we'll see. Maybe S-Works is going to... Well, S-Works probably paying more. But there's some budget freed up now with no David and Adrian to pay. So...
and the thing is, HB needs a driver really badly.
I heard Jackson Brunson's going to be racing HB.
Yeah, but
they need a Bornhorst or somebody of that level.
That's like...
No, Bornhorst is like Brunson.
No, Bornhorst makes mains and he does better. Brunson makes mains too. Yes, but...
Not at DNC. Brunson doesn't fight for podiums at DNC.
No, he doesn't.
No.
So...
Yeah. Bornhorst does.
Bornhorst does?
At least
I'm not getting into this. I'm not getting into this, Joseph.
I'm just saying.
Calm down.
Yeah.
I just think he would have been better fit at
when you
HB.
watch.
I'm not talking about a 5-car podium now, not some race time entertainment. Let's make a 5-car podium.
But Joe Bornhorst has, with a Techno, fought for a podium at DNC.
Yes.
In the past, at
more
least
than we can
years.
say for that. Shucks, that average Joe.
Someone behind you?
Yeah, that way. I can't point my other finger that way.
Joe still produces very average results, but he has his points where he can be up there, like a little bit of the mix.
He was very consistent this year, though. You guys keep saying if you look at the what Live RC done.
Let's put it this way. Me personally,
I'm getting a mute.
No, don't mute me. I have a really good point, actually. I am in a win-win situation. You know why? Because if average Joe switches and is average or even less average, then it's a win for me. You know, that's already a win. If average Joe switches and is a bit better than average, then that makes Techno's car look bad. I cannot lose. It's a win-win. Regardless of what Bornhorst does after his switch, I win. I mean, it's awesome.
Nothing. You win in your brain.
Yes, I do.
You win nothing.
Yeah, I win.
You win nothing.
I'm just winning at life.
Just in your autistic brain.
It's like he sucks. He sucks. Oh, that's good. he does well. Oh, Techno car sucks. You know?
You know
You
what?
see what I mean?
I just don't know why I even had you on this podcast now. I don't even know why. We
I
talked
wouldn't
about
put
it.
it as harsh as Joseph put it, but that's definitely what the dynamic of this.
I think.
Running Techno forever. If he does better, it looks bad for Techno. Especially it looks bad because it's not that Joe is definitely not leaving Techno. It's Techno kicking him out. So if he does good, it looks very bad for Techno for the car as well as them for kicking him out. And if he does bad, it looks very bad for him. So yeah, Joseph is right. So
I do have something to say. We touched on it last week. Maybe this is the change that he needs. Though. He goes from being
to me, yeah,
he goes to S-Works.
Yeah.
He can be immediately the senior guy in America because Hackert's younger than him.
I just gave him some motivation.
Yeah, that has no effect on him whatsoever. And
I bet you it does.
The thing though, to me, initially when he started having good results, he didn't look average at the start. He started looking average at some point. It was a development that happened. I don't know.
Maybe after JQ came up with that nickname for him. But
maybe, but there was like but there was a point where people actually said out loud, is Lutz the number one guy? Is Lutz going to be the number one guy in a year at Techno? Mm-hmm. And then he always was. Yeah. After that, he always was.
Yeah, and he hasn't been racing that long either compared to the other guys. You know, so I think like 2016 or whenever, it looked like, man, this guy's going to be, you know, like way more than he has become, you know. So I would say that there might be some potential there.
You just can't give him a compliment, can you? You just can't.
I just did.
He just gave.
You said it in a twisted way that is not a compliment.
I didn't.
No, I think like Joseph is right. Like now, I think he needs this, and this is his time to prove that he can sort of shake that nickname off. Like, and I think this is the perfect chance for him. That's why I hoped HB, because that would have been, in my opinion, a better fit. But if it is
C-Hub
to
C-Hub, you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk? Okay, so let's touch on Ryan Lutz real quick, because I don't know if he's staying WRC. I heard it's out. I heard he doesn't have a deal. I heard he might be working next year, like full time, like out of RC. He might do some part time stuff. I don't know what's going on with Lutz right now. He's still doing RC things. He went racing this weekend. Maybe he stays with WRC, which I would hope he stays with some. I hope he stays with some company. But I would think that HB would be a great fit for Lutz too. Why not?
Yeah.
He can take up some sort of managerial role there, like, you know what I mean, as well, or work his way into it and become the face for HB. Well, not the face, but, you know, I don't know. Will him and Cole get along on a team together? That'd be kind of wild.
That'd be weird, but the
Jesus and the devil.
Yeah. But like everyone's saying S-Works, but to me, like, I think that's just something you can say because S-Works could hire anyone. But to me,
I've heard he doesn't have anything.
S-Works to me wouldn't make any sense if Joe is going there. So if we say Joe is confirmed for S-Works, to me, there's only X-Ray and HB that to me seem like good options for Lutz. Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason to have him at AE. TR, I don't think he really fits into that. They already have two Americans, and they most likely would like to hire an European instead. So, yeah, HB and X-Ray are the only ones I could see him sort of suit very well in.
You know, one thing, I think maybe I mentioned this, but in one way, Lutz is sort of tainted goods. You know, so you know how in Formula One or in motocross or maybe in other sports, I don't follow closely enough, but some kind of sports where people get money for showing up, like boxing or something like. If you cross a certain line, if you make a deal where you are no longer on a factory team or one of the best teams, or if you race without a salary, like some people do, like they have only bonuses or something and it's known. If you take basically a deal that is less than what you think you are worth or what you have been worth, you become labeled as that in a sense.
Yeah.
Do you see what I say? So then that following year, people view you not as valuable as what you were. So what some athletes do is when they don't get the deal they want, they don't take any deal, right? Mm-hmm. And then later on, they can potentially get that deal they want. So some people, maybe they leave Formula One for a year or two and then they get back. And they get back on one of the winning teams again. Like, they don't downgrade their image or value or perceived value. Mm-hmm. So the problem for Lutz is that he was at Kyosho, and then I can't remember the order anymore. So Tamiya, Durango, Techno, and then he sort of rehabilitated almost, right? A long time at Techno and doing well and stuff. And then Agama, WRC. It's like now he's at that point where
his stock is lowered.
His stock is lowered to the point where just signing Lutz is of no value to anyone. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's like he will sign for anyone. That is the perception now.
I get that, but he is still of value.
When the news posts online that Lutz has signed for a team, the value is practically zero. Okay?
Yeah.
What is of value is what he does, right? Yeah. So it's a risk for a manufacturer because they don't benefit. Like David Ronnefalk signs for Mayako, boom, instant value, right? The moment it happens. He hasn't even driven the damn car. There's value. Ryan Lutz signs for a brand. He has devalued himself with all these. So it doesn't matter. Like Ryan Lutz signs to HB, maybe like his buddy at Ohio RC track buys a car, you know? That's the value. It's limited to that. No one else gives a shit. What he then has to do is he has to earn that, or like create that value, right?
Raise his stock up again.
So results, being active on social media, posting videos on YouTube, doing clinics, going to races, right? Then he builds up some value, right? Do you see what I mean?
Well, he's done all that.
I think that is his problem right now. So he wants the paycheck that Ronnefalk or Mayfield or Cavalieri or Fend or like these sort of guys, like Ogden even, like that's the paycheck he wants. But he has lowered his stock to the level where he is not worth that.
I know what I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Like perception. Yeah. He can still do well and he's still doing everything else out there, but they're chopping and changing.
I'm not saying he can't do well. That's the thing. Like, there's just a disconnect now between his ability and his value, perceived value. That's what matters. And that's why there are motocross riders who retire even because it's dangerous and they don't want to do it for not the right money, or they skip a year or wait until they get the deal that they think they deserve, because they know if they accept less one time, they will never get back to that level because people know they will accept less, right? So we give them less. So it's similar to this. Like, in a way, he has maybe made the money he needs to make, but then he has taken these deals that have not helped his racing career or sort of his own personal brand image. So
I would have to agree there. I don't know what is in store for Lutz. I hope he stays in the industry. I really do. I've said that countless times. But it's just in an industry that's shrinking and getting harder for top guys to get paid. It's getting harder, dude. It's getting way harder. So I don't know what happens with Lutz. Hopefully something works out for him.
I think that he can still do it. Mm-hmm. It's up to him if he wants to make it happen, if he wants to commit to, do the things he needs to do to be of importance and value in the industry.
I agree with you. I think
he has the right skill set if he chooses to do that.
The one thing Lutz has also built up is his brand as Lutz. That's still worth something, like the nice guy Lutz, good guy Lutz, veteran, all that type of stuff. It's just he's had a good first year at Nemo, right? And then it kind of went to shit in the second year. Now WRC, he kind of didn't race. 2020, he didn't race much and all that type of stuff. But he's not had bad results with WRC. He's just not been as relevant as he was when he was with Nemo and Techno and all that type of stuff, I would say.
What Lutz can be what Adam Drake is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
better.
can. So Adam Drake is the kind of driver that, for like, his value to a brand or a company is not tied to his results on track. Okay, let's face it. He gets good results, but it's kind of almost irrelevant, really, if you think about it. He can always go to these local club races and beat up on the locals. He's good enough to do that. That's fine. But then at the big races, it doesn't matter where he finishes. It doesn't matter if he makes the main or if he's in the B. It's irrelevant. His value is different in that sense.
I agree with you.
And Lutz can be that kind of driver if he wants to.
I agree with that.
His value is different. It's not linked directly only to results.
Yeah, but that also takes time, and he's going to have to be on the road a lot. And I think that's something that he's trying to avoid as well. And because, look how much Drake travels, So
No, but yeah, but no as well. Because he could do a lot of that on his own. He already has a pretty good platform on Facebook and on YouTube. He needs to just switch it up a bit. And also the thing is, like, if he's driving WRC, it also makes him less interesting, to me at least. Like, if he was
because nobody knows nothing about the brand at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he was driving Kyosho, I would kind of be interested only because he drove Kyosho.
I get that. I understand
because there is value in the brand adds value to him as well.
All right.
And yeah, I think that's something.
We don't want to see lots out of RC. That's all we know. I know that too.
I'd love to see him at HB because that's sort of that would be a very odd environment for him, in my opinion.
But I think he'll do well there because the cars are good. He doesn't have,
Yeah.
That's
the thing. Like, the car is good enough. I think he would fit the car well, and I think that's the type of brand he could create that image with, because that's a brand everyone's still looking at. Even though David's gone, it's still a big brand. It's still a world championship winning brand. Like Agama and in the past, Techno were brands where you was like, okay, there's a few e-buggies here, or okay, the Nemo guy showed up, or whatever. It's not a big deal. Techno has created of themselves a brand which you look at, oh, another Techno guy, wow. And it's a brand. Techno is a brand on its own. Mm-hmm. But Nemo, Agama, and WRC especially, they haven't made that happen.
Not WRC. Nemo is big in America. Big in UK and all that stuff.
In the UK,
but
yeah,
I get it.
Even in Europe, it's not like in the UK. Nemo is big, and it should be. But even in Europe, there are places where you go and someone looks, oh, why does he drive an Agama?
I get that. All right. Well, before we move on any further, I gotta, we gotta plug some sponsors. Lugs Racing. Lugs has joined on for next year. I'm super happy about that. And Lugs Racing.
I thought you were going to say Techno RC and just.
No, I did Techno RC in the beginning.
Yeah, it would be funny.
Lugs Racing has over 55 years of combined experience in RC. Lugs has been testing treads, wheels, and rubber for performance. Their Econ line of tires were developed with racing budgets in mind. High quality but lower cost means savings that can be passed on to you, the racer. Their premier line of tires, the TQs and Protos, are built for pure performance, made using Lugs custom molds and proprietary rubber compound. The tires are now available in medium, soft, super soft, mega soft, and long wear. Find them at www.lugsracing.com, and you can save some money by using the promo code NNRC Lugs in all caps. Thank you to Lugs Racing for their continued support. They're growing as well, so that's good to see. All right, a couple more names, and then we're gonna move on to some questions. Tanner Denny, like, I'm so shocked. I'm still shocked at this. Is he? What is he? You know what
I hope? I think S works because Team Lime, but I actually hope AE.
Maybe, yeah.
Why?
Because AE only have Rivkin. Yes, they have Aiden Horn. Yes, they have Cole Tollard. Yes, they have
Pavitas.
Yes, maybe. And yeah, I think
I know what you mean. They don't really have a fast 8-skill early guy.
Like their second guy finishes at the podium at Nats, and that's like viewed as a fluke. You know, like that's a huge result for him. That's something that shouldn't happen. Like that's what Aiden Horn is viewed, at least the way I feel he's viewed. Because he, like, let's be honest, he isn't the type of guy who should be there every time around, at least at this point. Maybe next year he would, but at this point he isn't. So Tanner Danny is already a guy who this year finished in top 3 at DNC. At a lot of these races, he finished high up. So he's a guy who should be up there. And I think if he had a team support, he's also from Arizona, I believe, just like Rivkin. They hang out with Mayfield, both of them. It wouldn't sort of change his circle at all. He could still hang out with the same people. He would practice with the same people. Now, what would change is AE would probably be able to pay him at least part of a salary. They would probably be able to have him travel to different races, more races, and have him more committed to RC. So and let's be honest, the car isn't very different to Mugen. It is different, but isn't different enough where his results would change a lot. And he could set it up like a Mugen works. So it's not like he couldn't just do that. So, yeah, I think this would be the best possible move for Denny, because then you would have sort of that clique of Mayfield and Drake, and then Rivkin and Denny, and whatever those guys are, still work really good together. I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about you, Joseph? What do you think about Denny? Where do you think he's going?
Then we can get a rivalry going. That's always good. I have no idea where he goes. I was quite surprised that he switched. I wouldn't have expected it. Associated can make sense because Rivkin and Mayfield are already there and close, and Denny is one of that group, you know? So it wouldn't necessarily change that much. The dynamic wouldn't change. Maybe he just has a better deal. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
But still, it's kind of weird. I don't know if the deal matters to him. Like, he isn't... I don't know.
Like a full-time
he
job.
Just never... Yeah, it's like... I always got the sense that this was kind of his hobby. You know? Like, he wasn't trying to be Rivkin or Mayfield. This was fun, and he raced, and he had his other life, like normal life. So that's why, if that was the case, then why not stay? Because you just had the best results pretty much you've ever had. You're racing with Mayfield, like, just keep that going, you know? Why change? Unless it's some significant reason to change, then I would think don't change. So I was quite surprised to see that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well, that to me, the fact that he changed like this, it tells me that he already has a plan, or then he's just getting out completely, which I don't believe. So either he's getting out completely, or he has a plan, he has a contract for next year, and he's going to do it full-time, or if not full-time, getting paid for it.
You know what? We keep forgetting this company, X-Ray. X-Ray needs somebody else in America.
They do, but is Denny the type of, imagine the situation where he's like a guy, as
Lutz.
Joseph said, if he has had that attitude,
there's no way.
Hobby for me.
Lutz
If he has the attitude that this is a hobby for me, why would he then try to build a brand that has almost no presence in America, apart from Testments, which are in Canada? Like, he would
pretty
have
much
to build X-Ray on his own. And if that's a hobby for him, why would he want to do that?
But they still have board.
Yeah, don't forget that those other Arizona kids, Tanner Stees and what's his face, wasn't there some other one? They basically like quit RC because they ran X-ray and Gord was there and they didn't like Gord and they were all fed up with it. And they basically like, that's right when they quit racing, you know, and that was a contributing factor. Like it wasn't fun at the races and that. And then they had fun with Mayfield and Tanner Denny and those guys, right? So there's no way he would go to X-ray.
I can see Lutz go to X-ray.
Yeah, but yeah. I think Lutz to X-ray would be the best American X-ray move they could make.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Very religious move.
Yeah, it is. But I think that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, perfect match.
Yeah,
they could have a Bible study together.
It's either the Christian Bible team or it's the Jesus versus the devil.
No.
HB.
Basically, like we should, if that happens, okay, Lefty, I got an idea.
No,
if that happens,
no ideas. Muting. Not listening to you, Joseph. Not listening to you.
I kind of want to hear this. You can cut it out if it's too offensive.
No, yeah. If Lutz joins X-ray, then we have to come up with a slogan for their attack on the 2022 year. You know, something to do with the Crusades, or you know, something like that, right?
Okay.
I'm not partaking.
Don't
in
you
that.
think?
I'm not partaking in that. We're gonna move on now. The Knights of Templar.
People already think I hate America, and
the Knights of
apparently
Templar.
God is American, so I can't be too offensive.
I don't know. I just don't think X-Ray has budget for Lutz. To be honest, though, you know, it will cost a lot of money too. That's the problem, though. Lutz is still maybe.
I don't know.
Cheaper,
I don't know if the EU pays American salaries or if X-Ray America pays their salaries.
No idea.
I don't know.
No idea. I don't know. It's going to be
if
interesting.
If it's the EU paying, then they definitely have the money.
Are there any big moves coming still?
Ongaro
tires, maybe.
Yes, Ongaro
maybe
tires.
McBride should be confirmed.
McBride S-Works.
Oh yeah, we forgot about McBride. Yeah, it looks like it's S-Works for him, but you know,
S-Works.
I don't know who else.
Yeah, to me, sort of. Yeah, there aren't any sort of big moves that would be coming. Unless it's from like the back left suddenly.
So who are now on S-Works then? McBride?
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Boots? And Hackett and Average Joe?
Yeah.
And
so if all those moves are true, then the S-Works have a hell of a team again.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
You know?
But they sort of missed a year when like now all the semi-fast European kids left. In America, Cavalieri left. There was sort of a year where they sort of just lost drivers. And I think now it would be a year where they gain drivers.
Well, I think they're going to gain drivers in America next year for sure. I'm seeing a bit more.
Yeah, I think Team Lime is putting in a lot of effort, so it would be weird if they don't sign anyone.
It'd be interesting. I can see Tanner Denny going there and Bornhorst because Denny probably wouldn't even need a full.
Oh, yeah, that's of course. They are also in Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't know what their relationship is.
Everybody seems to be thinking it's going to be.
I don't know if the Limes hang out with that clique. Because
yes, they all hang out with each other.
It seems they all, but at races as well.
Obviously, there are different teams at races, but, you know, they all go
because to me, like, if Denny is a guy, like Joseph says, that likes it as a hobby, he's making a bit of a dumb move for himself, I believe, if it is that he like joins S-Works, because Heckert hangs out with them, so maybe it could work out. I think it could work out. S-Works as well.
We shall see. I still feel AE. I would
like to see AE because I think it would be good for AE as well, but yeah, hard to say.
All right, Joseph, anything to add? I mean, this city season's been so quiet. Maybe because somebody was.
Is there anything? It has been quiet, but I think it'll blow up after Christmas because it would be so weird if everyone just stayed. Like, I think it would be weird.
I hate being on this side of you, Joseph. We're gonna have to switch you back over, so I'm on your. Don't like this. Can't use my arm properly. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Oh shucks. this guy's been so quiet because he's been doing his own
Is there
silly
any
season.
moves in
Now
Europe?
he's kind of waking
What's
up.
going to
and being
happen
in
to
silly season.
Savoia?
Savoia is, I think,
still
staying
on?
with Kyosho.
What's happening with Kyosho? They got bought out this year by not the bank anymore.
I haven't heard anything about that. I think
they
that
got bought out by a company. That's for sure. It was a sort of figurine or scale or I don't know some anime company.
what,
that's
this
what it was.
year?
Yeah, or last year.
This year, yes.
Really, I haven't heard
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's called Surugaya or something. right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are planning
Because
to do.
they-
So my own
they
theory is
stopped
this.
Tensko. They stopped Tensko.
My own theory is this. They are Japanese, okay? Owner over everything, right? Kanai-san, when you retire, which is basically the same day that you die, the Kyosho will also die. The racing Kyosho. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Kanai-san, as long as he keeps going, there will be MP10s and 11s and 12s and whatever. When that ends, I think Kyosho stops racing. This is not a joke. This is my serious take on this thing. They don't want, they basically would want to do what Tamiya did. Yeah. Screw the racing. Mm-hmm. It's costing us money. Let's just focus on that. Everything else, right? Tamiya literally did that. Tamiya, stop racing, stop paying all drivers, stop making the racing cars. Done, right? Kyosho will do the same, but they have stopped everything except the 8-scale buggy, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
They are not doing anything in 10-scale off-road, on-road, Nitro on-road. They aren't doing anything anymore for racing. Yeah. They aren't paying drivers. They aren't focusing on it. Only 8-scale off-road. Why? Because they have a deal with Automodel, Yuichi Kanai, that design company, who provide them with the MP platform, Inferno platform for 8-scale. Mm-hmm. So if they stop that, maybe they actually put that company out of business, right? Because maybe that's all they do. So Kanai and the staff there at that company, they do the Inferno models. If there is no Kyosho Inferno, that company ceases to exist, correct? So I think that's why they don't stop it. When Kanai quits, then it's a natural time to, Kanai retired, this our deal is now over, that company moves on to something else, maybe they are already transitioning, I don't know. Then it ends. And then Kyosho will be like Tamiya. That's my theory.
I agree. I think Kyosho has already cut off a lot. They used to have touring cars. They used to obviously do even Nitro on road. They used to have every single class out there. And year by year, they've cut. They stopped on road at some point. They stopped all the on road Nitro classes. And they kind of tried to do 10 scale still after they got bought out by the bank. But then, I think they just saw that didn't work out and they just stopped. And to me, this is something that's the best for them, in my opinion, because I think Mugen lives with sort of this only. I think Kyosho can also live with this, sort of having only Nitro off-road vehicles. They obviously Mugen have on-road, but I don't think they make a lot of money from the on-road vehicles. To me, the way Kyosho
making so much money with
going,
Mini-Z and all that there, man. That's what making them money.
Kyosho, yeah, and that's what Joseph's mean. Kyosho's revenue at their peak was $100 million a year, I think. This was in 2004 or 5, and if you think of professional RC or racing RC, there's no way you make even a 10% of that. Maybe 10% is maybe possible, but even making 10% of that is hard with racing. So to me, that tells that Kyosho's value is much more than racing, and it has always been. It's been Mini-Zs and all the scale stuff. So
yachts,
I think the only way Kyosho stays relevant in professional racing is distributors. So drivers like Savoya, I do believe French distributor is paying 100% of his salary. I don't know, but I would imagine. You're muted.
Savoya also has his shop, RSRC or something. So he's selling Kyosho in France. So I think he is probably a cheaper driver in that sense, that he has his business also. So I don't know their deal. I don't know if they just pay him or he gets product or a part of both. And then he also, maybe he has a smaller salary because he makes money selling the stuff, you know. So it's different to just having a driver who is only a driver getting paid a salary. So it's business. Yes. It's like Kyosho aren't losing money on Savoya, I think, because he has his shop and he's selling Kyosho stuff. So it's a good deal in that sense. So I think Savoya is safe in that sense, I think.
Can we stop talking about Kyosho now?
I don't think they pay him a salary. You know what? I'll throw him a last curveball. Lutz to Kyosho, like Savoya.
Could be.
No, I don't think so.
But I don't think so. I have to agree with Joseph on that.
I don't think so. But I mean, that's a curveball.
Possible. Anyway, we've beat this dead horse for enough. We're like everybody else. We're waiting for information too, so it's not much out there. I think that's it for silly season, though. I don't hear anything else. We'll know more as time goes on, and we did talk about Kyosho, but we didn't talk about CJ Jalen. What happens with him? You know what I mean?
Is he still racing?
Yeah, but
he is.
There's no racing up there in NorCal. Yeah. He did pretty good at the Nats too, so. Not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I don't really know what's like. Is he young enough where he can still not care?
I think he's like 17 now, so maybe going 18.
When you get to 17, 18, that's when you have to start caring if you want to go pro, I think. Like before that, you can do it as a hobby, go to school, do whatever. After that, you kind of have to start doing something.
No idea what's going on with CJ. I think that's it, guys.
He shouldn't have left X-Ray, though. That was his biggest mistake. Maybe. Even though he probably didn't like his time there, he would have been so much better off with X-Ray.
I think so. Maybe at this point, for sure. All right. Well, you know what, guys? I think that's it for silly season talk. We have some questions that I want both of you guys to answer. So let's get on to that. And we're going to try and do we're trying to do an hour and a half. We're almost at 2 hours. So, let's try to keep these answers, what I'm saying? So
we'll
we don't
be
go
very
too long.
swift with the questions.
All right. Well, thank you for all we will, as I said, as more news breaks for silly season, we'll be able to talk about it. But it's being a very drawn out silly season, and I think the biggest news was announced already. So we shall see. Let's see if somebody tops that this year. And let's go on to the Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
Thank you to Beach RC for their continued support of the podcast. Go check out Lucas Lawrence, Ahab, and the White Whale Travels. He did a great blog from Fall Brawl. I really enjoyed that. 45 minutes long. And Beach RC has given us some gift certificates to give out to you guys this Friday. So thank you to them. Go check them out. And if you guys can, use our affiliate link in the written description of this podcast. So, and thank you everybody for the question. So first up, this is a question about race organizations. So this might pique Joseph's ears. Mike Scorchy, he wants to know what is the best ways that race organizers could do to minimize qualifying, maximize racing. He says, I do not like IFMAR style qualifying. He says TQ is just a win of practice. You end up spending most of your time qualifying. All the stuff we've talked about before. And he goes, I would like to see more really race style formats, but do it for all classes and stop wasting so much time qualifying and let's go racing. Go ahead, Joseph.
maybe now with Max back, we can finally have this project see the light of day. So basically have formats, schedules, all of this stuff to improve racing. We just need to finish them up and start distributing to everyone so that we hope that some clubs, race organizers adopt them and start using them, because there are better ways to go racing. There are ways to have a lot of entries. There are ways to have a lot of classes. There are ways to earn a lot of money as a race organizer and provide a better product to the racer. That involves not having to spend all day at the track for smaller races, club races, local, regional races, whatever. Breaking up the day in that way, separating the classes a bit. And it also involves racing in a different way where the focus is more on racing the other cars on the track. But in short, the way to do it is to make qualifying so that you don't count the whole 5 minutes. You just take the best laps, like 3 best laps, 5 best laps, something like that. Any laps within that qualifying round. That means you can, just one round of that is enough for a club race, right? Most of the time, most drivers will be able to do enough laps, even if they break, so that they have a qualifying time, right? Then after that, you race a qualifying race against other cars on track. After that, you have finals. So there are, for different size races, there are different ways you can apply this idea of qualifying being about fast laps, then having a qualifying race to set the grid for the final, then having a final. So you keep a bit of the sort of heritage of RC, but you also bring something new to it. More heads-up racing, more emphasis on fast lapping qualifying, more fun. So less stress. It doesn't matter anymore if that marshal was in the way or someone crashed in front of you, So yeah, we need to finish all of this and also put it in video form and explain these things to people and have the schedules and formats and rules readily available so people can adopt them and start using them.
Sure.
So
I think we're all in agreement with that.
Yeah,
it's something we have to do. If we really want RC racing to grow, we have to do this, because times have changed and people don't have the same kind of patience anymore or time anymore. If it's a child, the child maybe doesn't want to spend that much effort and time at the track, but the parents too, they have other shit to do. They can't be all day at the track. We have to take this into account. The world moves faster now than it did in the past. So we can't expect people to be 16 hours at the track just to race RC, 4 hours in and out, boom, done. And we can do that. So we have to change this. If RCGP hits it big one day and has a season of races at full-scale events and the videos reach a larger audience, if we manage to get a lot...
Did he freeze or did you freeze, Max?
You froze, yeah. So if we manage to get more eyeballs on RC, if we manage to get more people into RC, even for a moment, we want as many of those people as possible to stick around. And if we race the way we do now, most won't. So we need to change it. We need to make it more accessible, convenient, and fun.
Yeah, the thing is, now there's more we have to compete with. Like in the 90s, there was slight hint of video games. Like CS started at late 90s. So let's imagine 95 to 2005, most people who video games were kind of same size as RC at that time. Obviously they were bigger then as well, but the sort of scale was similar. Also, social media wasn't a thing. Instead of people reading on Facebook, watching videos, they had few TV channels they might have spent time on, a few TV series they might have seen on TV. we are competing for people's time here. Like, if we make the time that people use in RC not as valuable, so it's not worth it for the people. They rather watch a few series on Netflix each day than sometimes rent their car one night, go to the track or whatever. Some people rather watch some YouTube videos or watch TikTok, or then they might even play video games, which is like a direct sort of competing with RC. But in this day and age, there's too much information and activity for our brains. So we have to choose. Before, we didn't have that opportunity. Before, you went out with your friends, maybe. Sometimes you watched something on TV. Sometimes there was something happening in your city or whatever. Nowadays, that's not the case. Nowadays, no matter what's happening, you can find something that is interesting enough and available enough where it's just easy and you have enough interest in it. So we have to make RC easy enough that what's fun about it is more than what's difficult about it. So that's sort of the line we need to find. Right now, for a lot of people, it's too difficult and not enough fun. So we need to make it less difficult and more fun, so that in sort of what the end result is more value than just watching YouTube videos or just playing games home or just doing something that is easy, but sort of has their, produces some kind of value in their life.
I agree with
because
you.
In the end, people don't just sit around and do nothing. They need something to produce some value in their life. Watching YouTube videos is very close to doing nothing a lot of times, but it still stimulates your brain and you feel like you're doing something at least, even though in reality you aren't doing. So that's sort of what we got to look at. Like, we have more competition now. We need to be better to even stay on the same level.
I would agree with you.
If we want to be bigger, we need to do even better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with both points, so I ain't got nothing else to add there.
I mean, Joseph said what we need to do, and I said why it's happening.
Yeah, sure. Lance Murray. Lance Murray. Thoughts on reducing shock oil weights going into winter weather? Nebraska here, and it's getting cold, even for indoor tracks. He says AE says reduce one weight by 10-degree changes. But if it's 25 or 30 degrees on track temperatures, that's some really thin weight fluid. What do you guys think?
The thinner the fluid, the less it affects it. So if you imagine like water, the density of water doesn't change much, and the sort of viscosity of water doesn't change much depending on temperature, because it is like water is basically zero weight of fluid. The more the less viscous the fluid is, the more temperature will affect it.
Basically, you can think like this: like if you run very thick oil, it's not exactly linear, but imagine it is, and imagine the thickness changes 10%, and you're running 1,000 weight, so 1,000 CST, for example. Then that would be 10% of 1,000 is 100, right? So the thickness of the oil would change 100. Then if you compare, you run 100 CST, and it's again 10% change in viscosity, that would be 10. So the viscosity would only change 10 CST. Well, our setup change is 50 at a time, basically, 50 CST. So with 1,000 CST, you are changing 2 steps from your normal adjustment just because of the temperature. With that 100, it's only 10, so it's 1/5 of a step that we normal change. Yeah. Does that make sense,
and
Lefty?
Also, it's not linear, it's exponential. So the thicker fluid you go to, the more the difference will always be.
I understand what you mean, though,
even in the temperature. So it's not going to be like 10% always the viscosity change. It's going to be worse and worse and worse the thicker the fluid is.
Well, he definitely has to drop weight in the cold, and as it gets colder, you're going to have to do that too. So I don't know
what. He also asked if running thinner oils helps. So if you're running already thin oils, do you have to change as much? And we said no.
No, he said, I know AE says to reduce one weight by 10-degree changes. So
yeah, and after that he said something else.
No, he said, but if it's 25 to 30 degrees on the track, that's some really thin weight fluid. He's saying that will be really thin. So I guess
it will be.
Yeah, but maybe not as thin as he's thinking. Like, it's not going to be running 10 CST or 10 weight oil in the shocks, probably. You know, maybe 20, 25. All I know is when it gets colder, you go thinner. When it gets hot, you go heavier. Simple as we can do it. That's Lefty's setup advice right there. That's all you need to know in life. John Wolf, back in the 80s, I had a PBXi2 off-road car with a 2-speed clutch, which worked really well. Do you think this would be any benefit to today's tracks on large tracks such as Redavon? I don't think any 2-speed track would be good on off-road. It's just too much stuff to break. It'd be hard to time that
stuff.
Too
much stuff to break, and jumps would be very hard to time as well. And I think the biggest issue is just the durability of it. And also actually it weighs almost double. It's not as durable, and it's also jump timing will get difficult at some point.
And these cars are like motocross bikes.
It's not like it. Yeah, and it's also like it doesn't really benefit it. Sometimes, like, I have felt that I've gone faster down the straight with a shorter gear ratio because of the fact that the engine just can't. The gear ratio is so long that the engine just can't rev anymore. It just it can't produce that much force.
I would agree with you. Joseph, thoughts on that real quick?
I didn't hear the question, to be honest.
Of course you didn't, because you're just typing away. 2-speed transmissions. 2-speed clutch, he says. I don't know.
Not for off-road, I would say.
Is there a 2-speed clutch?
He means like two-speed gearing, like 2-speed clutch wheel and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't work for us in off-road, but I mean, in on-road they use it, so it's good.
Yeah, in on-road it works because the engines rev so high, and they sort of have kind of a narrower range of function, in my opinion, of RPM. And also the fact that these cars go from 0 to 120, where our cars go from 0 to 60. Talking kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and that's one more tuning thing you got to mess with and get the engine right and do all that type of stuff, because your engine has to,
But you have to imagine just the speed difference. So they go double the speed.
Yeah, they do. Chris Trudeau, I'm going to mute Joseph because he's typing away. Chris Trudeau, what % of pros getting a paycheck would still drive RC cars if it wasn't their job? How do drivers stave off burnout and still keep RC fun? Is the current class of Cavs, Mayfields, T-Birds, Drakes, basically kids whom we've watched grow up and make a life in RC, a fair assessment of RC as a job, or are those drivers an exception to the rule? Basically, for kids today starting an RC, looking at these heroes as a realistic path to becoming a paid professional, or are they some kind of exception to the reality that is RC motorsports? I would say so, man. Because it's fucking hard, excuse my language, it's fucking hard to become a pro driver in RC cars. There's so many people that's had that talent and they've been like that far away from getting there and then they give up. Because it's so hard to make money at this. And what people have to understand, when you're at these guys' level, it's a job. It's a job like anything else. Me talking on this microphone is a job like anything else. You get tired of it. You need a break from it, you know? So I think Mayfield really enjoys RC on his time off. Like, he goes out to the desert and freaks out with fifth scales and all that stuff. But I think when these guys do this 3 weekends of the week, and then they have to prep throughout the week for these races, they probably want to have a weekend off to spend with their family where it doesn't involve RC.
Yeah. I think that's also one reason when Joseph mentioned earlier on in the podcast that Mayfield doesn't really do any of the extra stuff. He just races. He likes racing. I think that's one of the reasons why Mayfield also does some of that sort of, like, he had a drag racing car. He had that speed record car or whatever, which he posted some YouTube videos of. I think that sort of saves him some time and energy where he can just love RC and focus on that more. Whereas David is obviously more career oriented and sort of he wants to build something as well on top of just RC. So yeah, I think a lot of these pros would not stop racing RC if for some reason they just didn't get paid anymore. But they wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't keep racing the way they do now.
Oh, they couldn't afford to, and not only that.
Not just that, but I mean, they wouldn't practice a lot. They would go to the races and have fun, but they wouldn't because I know a lot of guys who get paid to go to races and get like paid travel. Some even have gotten in the past salary. And they never practiced. They only went to the races. I know guys who do that. So they.
You're muted,
really,
Joseph, because.
Yeah.
Mark Reinhardt is like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't practice.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, what I guess my point is, he's thinking about RC guys having fun and all this type of stuff. He also has to. What we also have to understand is that Cav, Mayfield, Tebow, Drake, Fenn. These guys came up in a different era of RC. There was no real social media. They came up through that in a different way. And that way isn't her anymore. You know what I mean? There is no pathway for one of these young guys to become a pro because there's no actual real professionalism, a line. I've said this before and I'm going to say it, keep saying there's no line between a professional and a Joe. Because you got people out there that think because they can go to these races and they can be 3 laps off these guys that they're a pro. Pro is, in my book, when you get paid to do this for a living. When your result at this race is probably the difference between you having a good paycheck this week and next week. You know what I mean? Or this month and next month.
Yeah.
So I get it because when I get to the weekends, I kind of chill out. So when you're at a race or something like that, you enjoy it. So I think these guys enjoy these races. I think they enjoy doing all this type of stuff. But do I think you'll just catch any of these guys? Yeah, well, I mean, Tebow enjoys RC with his kids. But do you think I'll see some of these guys just going out there and driving cars out in their yard just to drive it? Probably not. Or some guys.
But I don't think that's what he's asking. I think what he's asking is if these guys was the RC career was kind of over, would they stop racing or would they still go to some races?
He asked, how do drivers stave off burnout and still keep RC fun? They have other things to do in life too. Like kids and other hobbies and stuff that they do.
Okay.
So it's a deep question. But even for young drivers that are looking to these guys are the exceptions that made it to this level. You know what I mean? They won and did. And now it's even harder to be a pro driver. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the answer
people
is
don't
for
really.
these young
One
kids.
thing people miss a lot of times is when David Ronnefalk was racing through the ranks, there was a lot of fast guys in Sweden, similar to his age, and to my knowledge, none of those guys run RC anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not like all of the guys sort of continue racing on, and then these are just the top guys that get paid. It's that a lot of guys tried it. They put a lot of effort, a lot of time, even sometimes a lot of money into it, and it just didn't work out. And then they sort of realized I got a real life to live, and then they stop.
I agree with that.
That's a lot of times what happens.
They find real life cars, girls, all that type of stuff.
And in America, there's a lot of those guys like Tommy Hines and Tanner Stees are guys who never really were good enough to come pro just like that. Mm-hmm. But they were always close and they always were there. So obviously Tanner Stees was a bit better than Tommy Hines, but these sort of guys were I think a lot of people know who these guys are, but still they don't race RC anymore. And this is sort of one thing that people maybe miss. I don't know, but sort of what can, at least it can sort of throw you off a bit that these pros are the guys who manage to make it and stay.
Yeah. But that's it.
That sort of thing.
That's it. And it takes a special personality to do that. It takes you know, knowing what you want to do and all that type of stuff to do that. And that's
why. Yeah, to me, that's why also what you said at the start, like there needs to be a certain line when you are a pro. That's why something like RCGP and stuff like that, like Formula One and a lot of things like that are important, because that's a clear distinction about being 100% pro, no questions asked, versus now where you always have to scramble for money and whatever. And because to me, it would be more interesting if in DNC, the pro class was just pros, only pros. These guys are the number one. These guys get video and live stream online and made proper quality content out of. And then the rest of the guys are there just to have fun. Like the open class is like, even in a pro class now, there's a lot of guys who run the pro class, but they don't really, they know they aren't pro. They aren't really putting enough effort into it, or they just know they aren't good enough that it will never work out. I think like these guys should be steered towards making racing RC more fun, because there's a lot of people in other motorsports who just do it for fun. They don't do it for glory or money or whatever. Like there's a lot of people in Finland who just run rally for fun. They get some way to finance it. They run it for fun, and some people are Finnish champions. Some people just run it every year, finish like somewhere in the top 5 or whatever. And there are always a few kids who get funded and try to be a WRC driver.
I agree. That's something that also needs to change. Just having that clear separation will actually make it more fun for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
Because then when you have that separation, that it's not a pro class that's just called a pro class. No, they actually are professionals, right? I think it should be still okay if you want to run that and you're not professional, you can. Okay, maybe RCGP is closed, like you can't. You have to make it onto an RCGP team. But let's say pro class at DNC, I think maybe it could be a situation where you can do that, even though you aren't on some pro team and you aren't a real professional, if you choose to. But we still need to have that distinction more clearly. Because when we do that, then those people like Tanastes or again, I forgot the other guy's name, Tommy Hines, Ketchup. So, those guys would have a place, right? They are good drivers, but they are not professional. So they race the class for them, you know? It's funny to me that America has all these classes, yet they haven't really figured this one out, right? Everyone has their own class, yet there's no one class for pros, really, if you think about it. That's kind of funny for me. Like, everyone wants their class, but there's not a true pro class. That's weird in some ways, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on. It's a good question, and this is something that we've talked about plenty of times, and it's still a conundrum to us. So I don't know.
The thing. Wait, one last point. So, the difference between the pro class should be that it's very limited. So that's how the separation is made. It is limited, and it runs to a different format, maybe just like RCGP has a different format, you know, like there's a reason for it being limited. The best drivers are there, they put on a show, then everyone else is in their own class, right?
Yeah.
I just think that separation is important to make.
There isn't a separation in RC where the people who do it for glory and money and the people who do it for fun and enjoyment. There isn't a separation and a line there. And a lot of people get that mixed up and then quit because they aren't getting the glory and they aren't getting the enjoyment because they don't know what they're after.
I also think that separation allows that 99% of the people that are taking this too seriously to back it down and not taking it serious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can see that, okay, I'm the one doing this for enjoyment. If I win, that's nice. But
The
I don't
illusion's
need to
still
be
there.
trying to be a pro.
See,
yeah.
the illusion is always there. Oh, if I just win this race, if I just win this race, that's it. That's all I need. Oh, I came 25th at DNC. I should get paid travel. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. No, you get paid travel when you finish that top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, we can go on and on about that. Great question though, Chris. Great question. Nathan Genda, if you could race any 10 scale on-road asphalt parking lot track, which car would you be running? I'm going to my TC3 Nitro car. I really like that. What about you? I don't race. That's the only on-road car I've ever raced. So.
He said asphalt parking lot?
Parking lot type track.
Does he mean like on-road?
Yeah, 10 scale on-road.
Touring or like Nitro?
I don't know. Just a 10 scale on-road, dude.
I guess he mean electric touring. Yeah, automatics, I think. Or does he want to be an old car?
No, any car you want.
Yeah, automatics.
I would run the... But he's in the parking lot, he said. So I'd run those Tamiya Euro trucks. That's what I'd run.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Oh, I know what I'd run. I'd run Tamiya M Chassis Mini. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, those minis are fun. Yeah, you're right.
That's what I would run.
Yeah, I'll switch to that. Yeah.
Joe Zaire Jr. of Ran Out of Talent. What's up, Savage Joe? Do you think that they should release what pro drivers are making like other motorsports? If they do, will this deter future pro racers because their salaries are not nearly what they think they are?
Do they actually disclose it on other motorsports?
No.
I don't think they do.
They do.
It's just journal. No, I mean, they know, but it's journalism. It's not that the brands disclose it. So what they should be asking is, should we have better investigative journalism in RC? Which is yes, obviously we should. If these sort of salaries were revealed, I don't think it would hurt, really. People probably know around what these guys are making. I don't think people
No, they don't. You'd be surprised how many people think these guys are making millions.
Yeah.
This was something... what the hell? I can't remember anymore where I was supposed to do this. Like, was it on the... I think it was a YouTube video that I was going to do. And instead of... the problem is RC is so damn small. You know, in bigger... sports, you can do this. You can have a journalist who's kind of an outsider but an insider at the same time and can reveal stuff. Here it's different. It's so small that you're like one step removed. Everyone is one step removed from everyone. You know, so you can't do it the same way. So the one way to do it is to have a grouping system. So you have the elite guys, then you have the good but not quite elite guys, and then you have sort of semi-pro, right? Yeah. And then you give the salary ranges for them. Like elite guys, they make about this on the car, this on the engine, this and that's, but you don't say who is making what. So having all the information out there, you don't know exactly what Mayfield is making or Cavalieri or Ronnefalk. You don't know, but you know the range. And then below those elite guys, you have, I don't know, who would it be? Like Baruffalo or Ogden, you know, these kind of guys. Yeah. They are not the winning, but they are good and they are paid. What do they make? And then you have the semi-pro guys, you know. So I think that could be interesting for people. So they get a quite good idea of what drivers are paid, but they don't know exactly what each individual is paid.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think that's doable also because I'm friends enough with enough drivers that I think that we could put it together. Yeah. So where the deal is like, okay, we don't disclose who is making what, but we just get the ranges out there correctly.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should let them know, everybody know how much they make. I don't care.
Well, I can tell you what I make now.
0. Negative number, actually.
To sign Ronnefalk, it was like, you know what? I'm going to sell books and courses, I guess. Just give me my salary.
Benjamin
I'm not
James.
even kidding. That people think I'm joking.
Yeah, I know you're not joking.
That's not a joke. Fuck, another year of fucking Rice Krispies. Jeez.
Yeah, man. I can see that's treating you well. Benjamin James, do you think RC would do well to start offering payouts for races, even for just the pro classes?
No, I don't like that.
I don't
idea.
have
I
no
don't think
issue
it's
with payouts. I think it can be done at different races. Not every race has to be a payout, though.
I don't think it makes sense for the pro class, unless it's something like RCGP where teams have to commit to, and they have to have at least some monetary incentive as well in that to commit to it. I think in that sense it should be there, but I don't like the idea of sort of come to this race and you can win this amount of money when you win it. I don't see any value in that.
I think much better value would be for the organizer to invest in proper trophies or race coverage. Whatever money they are putting towards a payout, put that money into the event in a different way. Nice metal trophies or good coverage so people can watch the racing. That's way more valuable than giving a few $100 to a few people. You know, that's my opinion.
All right. I can see those points as well.
And especially now, like there was some races at OCRC where they were giving that money only to the pros. So it was basically Mayfield and Cavalieri and Rivkin sharing a few $100 each. And that was it. Like what does it change? It doesn't change anything. These guys just get a little bit of money.
Okay. All right. Well, we got some setup questions for you nerds. So here we go. Buck Owens, where is a good place to start to lessen the rear collapsing underpower on the BEE buggy? I guess this means squatting.
Put the if it's squatting straight, then increase anti-squat. If it's squatting to the one of the sides, then you should move the rear hub rearwards. And if you're running a really soft roll bar, you can try a thicker one. But generally, it's better to go rearwards on the hub and then have softer roll bar, in my opinion. That sort of balances it out. You have sort of the grip still in the rear, but you reduce the squatting. That's my opinion.
Okay. All right. Next question. You good with that, Joseph? No. You going to add anything? You didn't even listen.
Maybe if he's running CVDs, if he is, then that also causes that the universals would help also.
Okay. Answers.
To stop that.
KB Wolf, he asked, chicken wings or mozzarella sticks? You, Joseph, chicken wings or mozzarella sticks?
Cinnamon sticks.
You, Max?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings, 100%.
Chicken wings. We're all unanimous that we're going to have chicken wings here. All right. He wants to know.
They should have asked something else, like fried chicken or
he always
not
asks
fried
a
chicken.
food question when he asks questions. So he always asks, what's up, my dudes? Thanks for the help last time. How do you get your two-wheel drive buggy to rotate off power in the turn? Stay rad.
You brake.
Off power in the turn. Towing is a big deal, but to me also ride height affects a lot in two-wheel drive.
I'm going to ace this question.
I don't know. I don't really have sort of one great answer, but Joseph clearly has something.
Yeah. On the steering knuckle, there's that plate. So a shorter plate. That's going to do it for you. Okay. That's all you need to do, really. And maybe corner speed. Most two-wheel drives have square blocks. So if you go a bit wider on the inside for the arm. So like maybe you keep the same toe in even an anti-squat, you just go out. That could help. Okay. Then we're talking.
All right.
And if you're running on carpet, I don't know. Don't run on carpet.
The same stuff kind of works on carpet though.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not that different. AstroTurf or carpet or dirt, it kind of works all the same.
All right. Well, we got two more questions, and then that's going to be it for this week. All right. So this is from our Discord server from Kel Racing 33. What is the opinion on using small wings on the upper control arms? He says, I've seen Testman do it.
Oh, yeah.
But I believe I've seen it on Drake's car. Here you go, Max. I know you want to answer this question.
So, first of all, the Afrobantes, since...
What happened to Max?
Yeah, my camera died and my computer died as well.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, we're back. So, yeah, Afrobantes at the start of 2020. So the rules state that there are no wings allowed to be attached on the wishbones or stuff like that. So you can't really use them anymore in Europe. JQSM.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did that really though. What was their reasoning?
I think they sort of didn't like when people started putting more wings in the car, the stuff I did. But the rules they have really don't ban the stuff I did to the car because they are still part of the body show. The rules state that you are they don't say that you aren't allowed to attach the wings to the body shell. They only state that you can only use a front wing and only use a rear wing and the body, but they don't state what means the body because the rules still have a section where they say if you run a body over the tires, they have to cover more than 50% of the tires. So it's either more than 50% or not at all. So that's the rules they have as well, which is a bit idiotic. It's from the time where people were running Beetle bodies on 8-scale buggies as well. Also, the rules they wrote about the front wing was a bit ridiculous. They said the front wing is only allowed to be attached between the gearbox and the front wing. Front shock tower.
But that doesn't matter.
It says behind the shock tower.
That doesn't matter. He just wants to know if they work. He's in America. They can run them. No.
He can run them, but I'm just explaining to the rest of the people who, because there are Europeans listening to this as well, that thinking what can they do. So now that the rules and that is explained, these wings do work in a sense that you will get a lot more front grip on high speed. The issue I find with this is, especially on sweepers and stuff, you feel like you can just steer and the car will steer. But the issue is it starts to stall the car a lot. So you will lose a lot of corner speed and you have to stay more on the throttle if you are steering more. So it doesn't really help you because you have to sort of still come off the throttle and have the car steer normally. And if you don't want the rear end to kick out, because if you just steer, the rear end will kick out because their balance is so much on the front. So I don't really know why these guys like to drive with these. I tried them and I never really liked the feeling they produce. They sort of have the front end dominate and the rear end will just suddenly kick out. But if you are a driver who drives a lot on power, you like a car that pushes a bit normally, but you kind of want to have that grip on higher speed corners and especially on sweepers, you can just go in turn and be on throttle and the car will have that front grip. So if you're a driver like that, you can find benefit in it. So it could be good for someone like that. But personally, I don't like it. And also, I don't really like putting aero and unsprung mass either because it makes the car handle very weird. It doesn't like a different scenarios. It handles differently. The car is very sort of inconsistent in how it handles bumps and stuff. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Any thoughts on that, Joseph, before we move on to the last question? Are you going to say it's placebo? You're muted.
Here's some mute again.
You muted yourself.
Did I? Yes. So I can't keep track anymore. I've tried it actually. It was before DNC 1 year. I guess last time we went to DNC. And I had those wings on the front. But I hadn't driven enough so that I had the connection with the car. I knew it made a difference, but I couldn't tell you exactly how and how much. But I know they do make a difference. So
they basically, the biggest thing you will realize is instead of the front tires sort of skipping or having less weight on them, you will feel like the front end is the controlling of the car. The higher speed you go, the more they will affect it. And the bigger the wings, the more they will affect it. I tried with quite large of the front wings, so it really made a difference. But to me, it just when you sort of have too much slip angle on the tires, it just starts to stall the car too much. And the way I like to drive, the way I set up the car, I really can't do it. I don't like it. But apparently some of these guys like it, and yeah, if they like it, they do. But yeah, I'm actually happy that they've banned it. I don't think we should be attaching wings to arms, because
where would you attach the wings, on the body then?
Yeah, on body, front wing, rear wing. I think that's what we should have. Even front wings, in my opinion, could be banned, but you can always go around that rule with, for example, what Kyosho has in front of the bodies. That's kind of a front wing. So you could attach like wings to rear arms. You could make the body show so that it has the airflow below the chassis traveling to the rear arms. And it just, like, if you don't have this rule, it's, in my opinion, it allows for too much dumb stuff to happen. So I think it's good that they made this rule.
Okay, great. And our final question comes from our Discord. Remember, guys, if you ain't joined our Discord, it's almost at 300 members. Let's go. Let's get it up to 500, or at least 350 by the end of the year. And this comes from Rick. He goes, are pros allowed to run chassis where they don't have contracts with for big races such as Raw Nax, Afro Euros, or IFMAR? He asks, could Tebow run a two-wheel drive AE, or Teebs, because that nickname's catching on, run a two-wheel drive AE in a 10-scale world? If he wins, would AE claim to win? Well, that happened to him at Reedy, and I think AE can claim to win at Reedy because he ran two-wheel drive AE, correct, Joseph?
Guess how much I heard of
I
that.
knew you wasn't paying attention. I just knew you wasn't paying attention.
I'll answer. I don't really... In RC, there isn't a thing where someone claims a victory like in full scale there is. It's because people know it wasn't associated, and the car isn't associated. So yeah, associated can say it was an associated car. Yeah. Something like when David ran the HP prototype, where they have the associated car, front end was completely associated, rear arms and stuff were from associated, but they had a HP gearbox and some rear shock towers and stuff. That's something that's a bit more difficult. At that point, it has to be just that it's a prototype. But yeah, but when it's like Tebow, it was 100% associated. They might have had some optional parts. Then it's pretty clear cut. What comes to do manufacturers allow it? Most of the time, yes, if you just ask them.
Yeah, and especially if AE may have helped him to get to that race too, you know what I mean? So
I don't think AE did anything. I think they just gave him free cars.
I'm sure he got a bonus for winning the Reedy with it though.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Why would they?
He won
Fucking owns Techno.
But
didn't it say Techno in the results too? Like, it's Techno.
Is it? I could have sworn that. Well, maybe not. I can't remember.
No, but it like the thing is, really, you get you win it with like you win the overall in
right.
Reedy.
He won the overall.
So when he won it, it must have said Techno. And when Tebow was running the car, it didn't say associated on the side.
I can't remember.
It said Techno.
Okay, well, if that's the case.
Yeah.
So why would, even if you're not contracted to associated, why would they pay you? Like, there's no reason to pay you.
I don't know.
It's not like I could, if it was a privateer and he was running AE, it's a different story. But when it's a guy who is running for a different company, promoting a different company, and then he runs some class, like Cavalieri was running with Espers. Cavalieri was running associated trucks, it's not like Associated was giving.
Those are on a
bonuses for winning.
TLR 2-wheel drive. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know how it feels. Maybe if that person's worked out a deal with Associated and their current sponsor where they can get some money from it, then fine. But we don't see that much, you know. So
Yeah.
it is
At
what it is.
best, these guys get the stuff for free. I think that's the case. At worst, they don't even get it for free, and they have to.
Well,
pay.
Joseph, hold on, Joseph. No, but you see, you ran Associated stuff, so they can claim Associated 10 scale. So okay, nah, that doesn't count. And also, you didn't count at Reedy, so it doesn't matter. So,
I almost won a race.
oh shit! The highlight of your Reedy career. I almost won a race. No, you did almost win a race.
I just wanted to win one race. Fucking failed at that.
Well, I'm glad you knocked that Reedy race shit out of your brain. Hey, you know what? We was only supposed to go an hour and a half. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. We greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Thank you, Joseph, for your time. Thank you, Max, for your time. Obviously, we always go over when we get together. So I'm not got much more to say. We answered a lot of questions. We did a lot of silly season talk. 2022 is looking great. Max, welcome back. Oh, Darth Maximus, to your apprenticeship of the Sith Lord right there. Darth Beakerson. And, man, I'm looking forward to 2022. Working with all you guys and seeing what we do and seeing what the Viking can do. And just, yeah, I'm excited. RC, hopefully COVID doesn't mess it up, but it's looking to turn out to be a good 2022 for RC racing, hopefully. So, yeah, I think that's it for the podcast this week. Remember, guys, showing the sponsor some love shows the podcast some love. Thank you to everybody that tunes in. We greatly appreciate it. We can't do it without the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without the patrons of the podcast. If you guys wish to be a patron, you can do that there is a written link in the description of this podcast. There's a special going on with the Invisible Speed course. Buy one, get two, one free, Joseph.
Yes.
By the
What
way-
a genius Christmas promotion, eh?
Buy one, get one free.
Yeah. It's the best Christmas present you
Yeah,
can give to anyone.
we're also going to be giving away some courses this Friday. So, yeah.
You buy you know why it's genius? You can be selfish and giving at the same time. You get yourself a course, but you get a free one you can give away. So you look like the good guy, but actually you just wanted it for yourself. But you don't need to tell that to the guy who gets it for free.
Hey,
Now everybody knows.
when will the exclusive podcast of the Mayako buggy be out now? Because it was supposed to be like on Monday, but I didn't see it. I only saw some guy getting signed. So where can I see the exclusive Mayako buggy walkthrough?
On Wednesday.
Today,
This is now on Thursday. Yesterday you saw it already. What are you talking about?
have you gone back in time, Max?
No, but it says world exclusive. First look at the Mayako buggy.
He's
Wait.
making
Oh yeah, that
fun.
was just a scam. That was a scam to
Yeah.
get people to think we were showing the buggy, and then we announced something else.
Yeah,
It's a scam.
When is that
It's a
actually
scam.
going? Someone asked it. Someone asked it on the
we
Facebook.
threw
That's
people
why I
off the
asked it
scent.
now.
Just like JQ and David threw me off
But
the set for a
will the
month.
buggy be revealed? Someone
No,
asked it.
it's
That's
just a
why I'm asking
scam.
it now.
Yeah.
It's just it's like Herbalife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would know all
Isn't
about that.
Herbalife-
Herbalife, they're fucking sponsoring football players and Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, but it's just a scam.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Look into it,
my
Lefty.
brain hurts right now. So, you know what? Thank you guys for your time. Thank you to the awesome sponsors of this podcast. We want to thank you to Mayako, Beach RC, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Invisible Speed, get your buy one, get one free, JQ Scale Motorsports, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Donathan RC, JTP RC, House of RC, RCGP, and of course, big thanks to the Sun City RC Raceway guys. We're gonna miss the Showers family and SCRC. Remember, everybody, showing these sponsors some love, shows the podcast some love. There are links to these sponsors. There's coupon codes. You can save some money. All of it is in the written description of this podcast. Please, if you guys can, use it. Remember also to sub and hit that notification button on the NNRC YouTube page and Max's page, as well as JQ. Even JQ is quieted down on his JQ page, his YouTube page. And also leave reviews. That's what I want. I want people to leave reviews on the podcast. If you didn't like it, say it. If you liked it, cool. You know, on these different podcast apps, it gets us out into the algorithm out there. So thank you to all the sponsors. Max, anything to add before we leave?
I think, yeah, it's last week of this podcast before we go to Christmas break, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, tune into the Christmas show. Let's share some love.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Even if you don't like Jesus Christ, you can still share some love at this time. It's the holidays.
Kill a tree for Jesus.
Plant a tree on January. So, yeah. Hey, okay, so everyone who's listening to this podcast, for your January promise, if it's too snow in January, do it later on, but plant a tree next year because some people kill it for the Christmas. So let's plant some trees and we can keep the planet going.
There you go. What about you, JQ? Anything to say before we sign out of here?
No. Okay. We are 2 hours too long, basically.
Well, we had to wait.
We ran this 2 hours too long.
We had to wait a whole hour for you. So anyway.
Yeah, we've been here for 4 hours almost.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, you know what, everybody? Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Tune in this Friday for the Christmas show. And thank you for all the support this year. We greatly appreciate it. We can't wait to show you guys some Christmas love on Friday and give away some stuff. And we'll see you there. With that said, Lefty, JQ, and Max are out.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. We greatly appreciate all the support and love from you, the listeners. Without all of you, none of this is possible. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. If you wish to support the podcast further, you can at patreon.com/NNRC podcast. As a patron, you will receive early releases, special content, and patron-only giveaways. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, www.nnrcpodcast.com. Remember, Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. If you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory.
wasn't so bad.